What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is your host, Dwayne, with Black Men Unfiltered, live tonight with my two of my bros. We'll have the females come in a little bit later because they're doing too much right now. But I'll let them introduce themselves. We'll start with Tony. Go ahead, Tony, and introduce yourself, brother.
Hey, what's going on, people? This your boy Tony, out of Houston, Texas, man. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Brian, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hey, how y'all doing, man? I'm Brian Jehovah calling out of not calling, but representing out of Dallas, Texas by way of Mississippi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh,
So listen, man, we're gonna hop right on into this thing, man, because I got three brothers. I don't know if y'all got a chance to watch the show last night. I know Tony got a chance to watch it. My boy Anton should be dropping in here in about 9:30. He said so. He'll be
mhm.
dropping in too. But anyway, so last night, man, we talked about. Well, Tony, you listened to a little bit of it. So, man, what did you hear last night in the last night's show, man?
Man, I heard a lot of good stuff, but I also heard some stuff that I definitely disagree with. It almost seemed like excuses were being made for the way that women act nowadays,
Yeah,
and I just feel like there's no excuse for that. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people need therapy, and a lot of people just not getting the help that they need.
right.
And the people that they're listening to are people that are not qualified to give any type of therapy. And I think that's one of the biggest issues also. You know,
Mm,
people listening to these parking lot therapists that's been divorced twice and still single, 57 years old, and
yeah,
can't keep a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and that's who they taking their advice from.
yeah.
And it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But I think that's one of the biggest issues that we're having right now in society, in today's society.
So, Brian, let me ask you, man. Let me catch you up. So last
All
night
right.
we were talking about
I
the
can't
be.
hear you that good.
You can't.
The
Okay.
music a little loud. Yeah, the
Hold on,
music
hold
a
on, hold
little
on. Let me
bit
kill
loud.
that. Let me kill that. Can you hear me better now?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay, yeah. So last night we were talking about uh, the behavior. Why do you feel like not all, but some? Why do you feel like some women's behavior is? Do you feel like women are out of line right now in the culture that we in right now? Give me your
What
personal mind, your personal thing on that.
what culture we in? What type of culture we talking about?
Black culture.
Black culture. So you saying that you say the black women are out of control right now?
Yeah. Well, the reason that the show was mainly about the thing that Ayanla said. Ayanla Van Zant said that she feels like black women are out of line now, and she said that they can be restored, but they have to close their legs and open up their hearts because they're so out of line on how they behave, and they're selling their behavior now, making profit off of their toxic behavior. So that's what the show. So that's what it started. That's how
Oh,
the
okay,
seed was planted. Yeah.
okay. Yes, what's being shown to us is whole culture. What's being promoted to us is whole culture. But in my personal experiences with women, I don't be around those type women like that. So I don't personally deal with those type women because I understand that those type women not my cup of tea. It's not the energy I'm involved in. So me personally, I don't see a genre of women acting like hoes. Because most women I see don't really act like what's being projected, what we see on social media every day of women disrespecting men. I don't know too many black women in my life that just go out disrespecting men too much. That's just what I have seen compared to what I have seen on social media. I've been through things with women before, arguments or a woman cussing me out. That's part of the game, but I think it just the bad get magnified with the women, in my opinion.
Yeah. So elaborate on that. What do you mean by magnified?
Like
You know
anything that's
something?
bad get magnified with women.
Oh,
Like, oh, my bad. Go, Tony, go.
oh no, yeah. I just want to add to that because you made a good point. It does get magnified, and they magnifying it on those shows like the Real Housewives. I know my wife mentioned that it's entertainment for her, and for her it may be entertainment, but a lot of people think that that's how it should be. They see these women out there cursing each other out and sleeping with each other husbands and all this other kind of foolishness, and they know that they making millions of dollars doing it. They know these women are getting paid to broadcast that foolishness like that or whatever, and some people idolize that and they feel like, okay, well, this is the direction I'm gonna go in. If they can make millions of dollars off of stupidity, shit, let me start now. Because you just never
Oh
know.
yeah,
You
now
know, everybody right now want to do stuff for likes and views. So if I can get lucky and do some crazy stuff and get enough likes and views, I can instantly become rich. And that's everybody's mentality. And that's one of, and not just with women, with men too. That's one of the biggest issues that I feel like we have in today's society. Everybody's trying to get likes and views, man. So they'll do anything.
oh, most definitely, man. Like we're in a culture right now of what's the word I want to say? Attention. Everybody want attention, man. You know, everybody at first when we was coming up, it was the money. Everybody was chasing the money. Now everybody chasing the attention. When you brought up likes and views, that's what everybody want, right? So for me, that segment of people is a problem because there is, and you are correct, there's what is being promoted. Whole culture, people like Megan the Stallion for people, because there are people out here that are weak minded. And I do agree with that. Why I'm trying to make sure if that's what you was talking about. But yeah, there are weak-minded people that are being influenced by these women talking about how they vagina is for sale, and now everything's a transaction. There's a segment of women that want a transaction with a man. If you want to sleep with her, you gotta give up something. If you want to take her out to eat, even after you take her out to eat, she still wants some money. She wants something in return. And my thing is, I started off wrong, but my thing is for me personally, I stay away from those types, man. I haven't even been around those circles, but I do see what's going on in our community. But man, it ain't gonna get right until we get them right. And
Man,
we
so
need
do you
women
think?
to shun those women. See, women got us black men. We've been shunning this whole culture for a long time, but they ain't gonna listen to us because they're gonna make it seem like we very aggressive. We disrespecting women, but we need women to speak out against this. Though we need the good women that tell these women, like, listen, man. Once you get about in your 40s, your vagina ain't gonna be worth nothing. No man want to be with a woman like that. You just for fun, you know.
Yeah, and you know what? And the reason me and Tony laughing because me and Tony had that same conversation. So
Same
basically,
conversation, man.
what you're saying is black women don't hold black women accountable.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
I say so. Basically, what you're saying is black women don't hold black women accountable.
No, man, you know that, man. Even when you argue with them about some cake, and you tell this woman like you cooked that cake wrong, it's gonna be a girl from Alaska gonna take up for that girl. Nah, she cooking the cake right. She cooking the cake right. Women, look at what women. You see women with their friends wear the ugliest outfits, and they'll still have their friend looking crazy as hell in public. Women stick together. That's the bottom line to it all, bro.
You know,
They just
that's
need.
crazy that you. That's crazy you even said that because I know I have conversation with my wife sometimes because one thing about her family and I went to a show in Dallas one time. It was called the marriage stuff
Safe conversation.
Safe Conversations. It was called Safe Conversations exactly. And so what we talked about was like why we act the way that we act. And a lot of it was because of what we was raised around, how we was raised, you know, what we saw, things of that nature. So it was a great show. And honestly, I'm glad I went because if I would have known that's what it was, I probably wouldn't have came. But my wife kind of tricked me. But I'm glad I went because I learned a lot of stuff. But
Mm.
that was some of the stuff that we were talking about and just how we're raising. Like my wife, for them, one thing about her and her brothers and her mother, like they always compliment each other. It doesn't matter good, bad, or indifference. They gonna hype each other up. And so because I don't do that, my wife has a problem with that. And like I tell my wife, it ain't that I don't think that like something may look. I mean, because even in my mind, I may see something. They may be complimenting each other, and in my head, I'm like, it's not it's all right. You know, it ain't how y'all hyping it up to be, but they uplift each other. So because I don't do it, it's like I'm the bad person. I don't do it to that extent, shall I say? Um, I'm a bad person, and that's part of the problem. Like you said, women they uplift each other. And that's what I heard a lot of last night. Nobody was holding anybody accountable. They was just whatever train one of them started on, the other one jumped on it with them, and it's like come on, man. Like if you feel differently about it, say that. You know, it's okay to disagree. You don't have to agree with everything somebody say. And but like you say, they ride with each other, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
because
ain't gonna be able to break that.
no, because one of the things that we talked about last night was how women how you dress. You know, you will be addressed how you dress, right? And so one of the things I brought up last night to Lance and to Megan was women can dress the way they want to dress. Men don't want to control that, but you want to control the fact that, like me, I'm a big dude, bro. So I had this conversation with my daughter. I said, "Hey, baby, what if I came to your graduate?" Because my daughter told me she's 18. My daughter told me that women, she feels like women should be able to dress no matter how big or small they are. They should be able to wear what they want to wear, be comforted within their skin. And I told my daughter, I said, "Well, baby, when you just graduated, what if I came to your graduation? I'm a big old dude. I come in there no shirt on. Yeah, that's my baby." You know, she jokingly said, "Oh, I'll be like, I don't know him." That's the same way we looking at these women that are that and like I said, ain't no body shaming thing. It's just you dressing your comfort. Like
Yeah.
you never seen Barry White with a white beat on. You know what I'm saying? You never seen Gerald Levert walking around with his stomach out on the beach. I mean,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
these dudes were cool, calm, and collect, and now women have got to the point they girls, like you said, hype them up. Girl, you look good in that two piece, and you can't even see the bottom of the two piece. You know what I'm saying? They Let's just be real, and they running out on the beach and jumping up and down, and there's stuff flying everywhere, and you know, and so I think that you're right. You guys are right. Hold them. You black women need to start holding each other accountable. Now, I will say this: there was a time where I was in church when I was a kid, and I remember the old ladies, the big mamas, used to sit over there on the side of the bench, and when a woman came in with something provocative on, they checked her immediately. She had a short skirt on, they would come whisper in her ear, and they would get the little white little veil thing and put it over her legs so you couldn't see it between her legs. Or they'll pull it to the side and say, "You don't wear that no more." But you don't have that now because if you have elderly women now, tell these young women now don't dress like that, or they probably gonna get cussed out.
Yeah.
Or they definitely gonna get cussed out. I mean, what do you guys think about the older generation of women versus the generation of women now?
Well, one thing I can say about the older generations, they Megan, hold on right quick because I'm probably gonna get some feedback. Hold on 1 second.
You can go ahead, Brian.
Uh, Honestly, I come from a different type of background a little bit, but yes, it's a difference between the old school ladies and the new school ladies right now. But we got to keep in mind, everybody wasn't in the church back in those days either.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It was a lot of it was a lot going on back then. So sometimes that's a good example about the church, and you are correct. When a woman come in showing the knee don't be dollar length, or if her socks not ruffled up, those old ladies get on them. But they were still just like it is now. It's still the good woman and the bad woman. It was like a lot of hot women that wasn't sanctified back in those days.
Mm.
And but one thing they did have was they still respected the man. The
Yep.
whole respected the man, even the sanctified one still respected the man. And I still try to figure out, maybe you brothers can educate me on this. People tell me it was feminism the reason why the male got separated from the woman. But I just think it was a little more deeper than that, in my personal opinion. Well, I ain't trying to take over, but that's why I just get
Oh no,
confused
no, you
at
good.
sometimes.
Yeah, you good. You
Yeah.
good. Tony, you can go
I
first.
think, yeah, I think part of the problem is the age. The ages now. You have babies having babies. So if you 15, your mama 25, so she a grandmother. You done had a baby at 15. You done made your mama grandmother I'm gonna say 30. I ain't gonna say 25. I'm gonna say 30. I'm gonna give her 15 years too. So she a grandmother at 30, and her mom is a great grandmother now, and she's only 47. So you got a 15-year-old trying to raise a baby, and you got a lady who's just figuring herself out that's a grandmother now. So I think that's part of the problem. We're having kids early now, and we just don't have those like grandma back in the day was what, 65, 70 years old.
Yes,
And
sir.
Hmm.
grandma was retired already, so they was the one who was watching kids. Now basically you got your mama working, your great grandma still working, you in school trying to, well, I'm hoping you in school. So like, who's watching that baby now?
Yeah,
Who's instilling any morals or values in that baby? You
yeah,
know, it's what they seeing on TV, because that's what we're letting raise our kids. We're letting TV raise our kids, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. Because I think that you're right. I think we've lost that big mama. I think we've lost that mama that was nurturing and caring for the kids. And last night I elaborated a little bit on that when I was talking to them about my grandmother, how my grandmother was loving and caring, and she was a natural nurturer. And so when I brought that up, Brian and Tony, um, the Megan, and Lance on the show last night, they were saying that women shouldn't have to work that hard. They shouldn't have to be able to take care of their husbands all the time and take care of their kids all the time. Women should not have to work that hard. And I think that's the difference between, because I think women work hard on what they want to work hard on. You know what I mean? Because back in the day, the women worked hard in the fields. Then they moved to working in nice places. Then they moved to work in corporate America. So the women have been progressing in how they work. But I think that back then the women worked and came home and worked. And one of the things I told Megan and Lance last night was, we asked my grandmother, "Don't you get tired of that? Like, don't you get tired of coming in, cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day?" And my grandmother says that when you have agape love for someone and you love unconditionally, it's not a job for you. But everything, it's like she said, when I do it, it's like I'm telling you that I love you unconditionally. And I don't think we have that no more. So with Lance and Megan saying that last night by saying women shouldn't have to work that hard. I want to know what you guys think about that. Like, Brian, you can go first. What do you think about, women, because I know Megan and Lance said that last night on the show, but I know a large amount of women that feel that same way. So how do you feel about the woman shouldn't have to work hard for her family anymore?
Work hard in as in making money, or working hard as in taking care of the
Right.
family, like
And that's the
nurturing the family.
difference. Right. And that's the difference. She said they shouldn't have to work hard nurturing the family. But watch this. So many women are working hard on their degrees, working hard in college, working hard to do the things that they want to do. But when it comes to nurturing their families, it's like they're being told they got cancer. I don't think I should have to work that hard with kids. I don't think I should have to instill good things into my daughter or into my son. I think that I should be able to do what I want to do. And like last night, they said that the women are tired of men because men have suppressed women for 100 years. Black men have suppressed black women. And back then, the women that was there for their husbands and respected their husband were suppressed. But now women are able to do what they want to do. And that's what makes it better, because the evolution of woman is inevitable.
Hey man, I'm trying to be PC as possible, man. 'Cause I'm trying to be
Don't
respectful.
be. This is Black Men Unfiltered. Speak your mind out.
No, no, man. Listen, man. I hear that a lot too. Black men never been in control like that, man. Black
Oh,
men never been around just beating on women like that. Every black man wasn't beating on was not hardcoring a woman
come on.
back in those times.
Right.
Every black man wasn't doing that, man. Black men, every just not black men, men in general are not just some creatures that just beat on women. But are there men that beat on women? Yes. But I hate when they say like men been stomping on women back. I mean, yeah, on women's back for 100 years. That's white women problems. White women have that problem with the man. We black women never had a problem with a man like that. That goofy shit that we hearing now, that shit came in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. All this woman empowerment stuff, like I don't need a man, or the government can take the woman in just as long as you push the man now. Hey,
Yeah.
since you
Yeah.
popped the baby out, we're gonna put you
Yeah.
on child support. Boom, okay. So stuff like that. So that's what really messed up the dynamic most between the black man and the black woman. But that 100 year, I don't know. There's no proof of that. There's proof everywhere that women have been abused, correct. But all women have not been abused, bro. My grandmother wasn't abused. My great grandmother wasn't abused. My granddaddy wasn't abused from stomp down men like that. I know a lot of black men in those times that when they was born, they had nigger on their birth certificate. I was born in the 80s, so I met old men that had niggers on their birth certificate. and they never beat their wife. They never threw her out. You know, just what you see in the Harpo movies and stuff like that. It wasn't going on like that.
Yeah, and before you go, Tony, I'm gonna say this. That's one of the things a lot of people say they hate Kevin Samuels. But Kevin Samuels had a show one night and he talked about that. He talked about the Harpo effect and the Mister effect from Color Purple. He said that movie, when it was made, after the feminist movement, because I want to address what you said, the feminist movement did separate the families. When
Mm.
women started saying we can do everything on our own and we don't need no man, that broke the family apart. But when you brought Color Purple in, you showed the world, Steven Spielberg, white man, showed the world that black men were abusive and all black men were good for was a suppressing the black woman and beating her ass. And so then from there on, women took that because women are emotional, so they take the emotions of the movie and they took that and they live with it, and they think that all men are dogs. And then you have their toxic mamas, and which we're gonna get to because this right here is the monologue. We ain't got we're at the appetizer right now. We're about to have dinner in a minute. But I want to Tony to elaborate on what you just heard. Tony, what's on your mind?
Yeah, man, I had a thought and it straight slipped my mind. But you right as far as the Harpo effect and stuff. I don't think men out there just. I mean, not to say. I know it's still happening. I'm not gonna act ignorant and say, "Oh, ain't nobody beating their women and women and stuff no more." Because I know it's happening out there, but it ain't happening like he said. Like that stuff was back in the day. But I think one of the things is. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Let me just go back to the mindset of now women when you were saying that they look at taking care of their husband as being a job, as working. I think with that mentality, because who wants to go to work? Nobody. Nobody. If we could all sit at home and get paid, but we getting paid for going to work, we'll probably sit at home. Nobody wants to go to work. So when you throw out the word work, it almost has like a negative vibe to it. So when a woman say that they got to work at work and then come home and work some more, it's a mind change because you're not working, you're taking care of your family. And even with that being said, I really don't believe in gender roles. Like I don't believe that this is a woman's job and this is a man's job because when you're in a relationship, that's a partnership. And one thing that my wife can definitely tell you, I cook, I do all the stuff that she do. And if I be honest, I cook better, So I'm gonna just throw that out there too. But
Don't do
but
that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I don't
Don't do that.
I don't believe in gender specific roles because I feel like you guys are there to help each other. So and whenever my wife need help, hey, that's what I'm there for. Whenever I need help, I hope for her to be there as well, and
And
that's
I
how it
do.
should
I
be.
am. I am.
Okay, Megan. So since you were the person that said it last night on the show, that said you shouldn't have to work that hard. How do you feel about the response that the men just gave you about you shouldn't have to work that hard? And a when black women don't hold black women accountable. You have three black men here that are in agreement that black women do not hold black women accountable and have given you examples. Go
Well,
ahead and
let, let,
elaborate.
let me start with
The-
the first one. So, to my point last night, my husband just explained perfectly why I said that. The way you were saying that your grandma was up making the coffee before she had to go to work, she was making breakfast, and she was just doing this, that, and the third, and your granddaddy was retired. We both work, and my husband now don't operate like that. He cooks, he get the kids together for school, he does all of that, and I work
Mhm.
full time. We both work full time, so that was why I said that. The other piece to that too, like he said, it's no gender roles. The same way he cooking stuff, I cut the boys' hair. I sometimes if I need Tony, he making that face. Is it the last time they had their haircut? I cut their hair. I cut hair. If I've cut the yard before, different things. It's no gender roles with us. He washes clothes. He get the kids clothes. So that's what I was meaning when I said that. I don't want to have to be a relationship where I'm doing all the domestic stuff and I'm working full time. I don't want. That's not the dynamic that I want. But to each his own. I'm not judging anybody. I'm not criticizing anybody. Each marriage has to do what works best for them. So that was my point in saying that. I'm not getting on a platform to judge a whole small subset of people like some
Okay.
other people do.
So okay, that's fine. I'll take that. I'll take that. I got a bulletproof vest on. Watch this. But go ahead. Go to part A. When I said black women do not hold black women accountable. I want to hear this.
Well, Dwayne, and I think, and even at listening to the other men's comments, everything there is a small subset of people in each group. I think it's hard to put a whole entire population of women based on what you've seen from a small subset of women. Me and my sisters and my friends, we hold each other accountable. Are there some women that probably don't hold the other women accountable? No. And I think a lot of that has to do with maturity. A lot of that has to do with age. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say when I was in college, I ain't encouraged a girlfriend to mess with a married man or something like that. I'm not gonna say that. But I was at a different level of maturity. And I can admit that. And I can admit that I've grown and I understand like that's not right. And that's not the way that you should behave. Would I do something like that now? If one of my friends came at me telling me that they would do it, no, I would read her rights and I would get her together. But I can acknowledge, not everybody can, I can acknowledge that there was a time that I was immature and that I may have not been holding some of my friends accountable. Now, do I hold my friends accountable? Absolutely.
Okay. Now let me elaborate on what you said about the gender roles. Because I grew up in the South just like Brian did, the dirty South, right? And in the dirty South, he could probably elaborate. In the dirty South, the men went to work, the women went to work. The women took on the responsibility because their mom, like my grandmother was married at 14. My grandmother had 21 siblings, right? She said at 14 years old, she could run 3 houses at 14. My grandmother said she could do things at 14 that some women at 46 can't do today. And how amazing that is for her to be able to nurture. But we talk about, oh, the women don't need to do this. I shouldn't have to work this hard. The men have suppressed the women. Okay, let's do that. But look at all the older generation of people right now that's living in these nice houses and got land and rental properties. All that came from that hard work. All of that came from her being in that kitchen. Now my grandmother doesn't have to do that anymore. Now she's sitting on her money. Now she's bringing other people into her life, foster parenting, adopting kids. But all that money that she's using came from all those hard years of work, all those hard years of sacrifice. And she'll tell you that I sacrificed a lot. I sacrificed for my husband. I sacrificed for my children. I made these investments. I made these investments, right?
And Dwayne, that's good and well, but there's not only one way of doing things. I don't do all that. I work probably, I'm sure, a lot more hours than probably what your grandma did. But I make good money. And so the same things that your grandma had, I can achieve those same things. It doesn't all have to be done the same way. Maybe your grandma spent less time on career and less time on degrees and that sort of thing, and she put more into homemaking and being domesticated. I'm not putting as much time into being domesticated. I'm putting more time into career. So that same lifestyle that your grandma is living, we live in that same lifestyle. It's just a different, which I keep trying to get to. There's not one way. Everything is not one size fits all. It's what works best for people. And you don't have to judge me because I'm doing something a different way. But that doesn't make your way wrong. The way your grandma did it, that was happy. She's happy. She's doing well. She's doing financially amazing. And that's good. I'm not on that track. I'm doing something different, but that works well for my family, and that's okay.
Now, I want to take one thing you said. Go ahead, Tom.
Hold on, let me say this right quick because I think it should be a balance. I don't think you should put more eggs into any basket. I think that should be a work life and family balance. So, I mean, I don't think somebody saying that I put more time into my career versus to my family should be something to be proud of. You should find a balance between it. And I think that's the only way that stuff can work. It has to be a balance. That's all I wanted to add.
And I don't want it to come off that I'm saying that my stuff is out of balance, but what I'm saying is, and I think I see like any of today's women, back in the day, a lot of those women didn't have to work like full time like that. Some of them, if they did work, it was maybe a 20, 30 hour type thing. The way things are set up now financially, it's very hard to have like a one person working. Like both people have to work full time. So we're not able to devote as much to being domesticated as we used to. Like, at some points I need a housekeeper. And that's just it's par for the course. If I'm working 60 hours, I need a housekeeper. I need help. But again, that goes back to what works best for your marriage. Some people probably don't believe in housekeepers. They don't want folks in their house. And that's fine. That's okay too. You have to figure out what works best for your marriage. There's no one way that's the exact one size fits all way that works for everybody.
Okay, now let me say this. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go in a minute, Brian, but I got to bring this to the courts. So, Your Honor, because I like to talk to my imaginary honor, the judge. Your Honor, this lady just said one size don't fit all. Everybody should be able to do this. But last night, she said black men are the reason for black women's issues, concerns, problems. Black men have suppressed black women. One size don't fit all, but last night, when it came to the black men, it fit all. Men, now let's talk about it. Men suppress black men. You didn't say some. You said black men suppress women. Black men are abusive. Women, educated women don't need no man, or they don't want no
hang
man.
on 1 second, Dwayne. I didn't say anything about abusive. I didn't say that.
No, that was Lance. That was
That was
Lance.
Lance. That was Lance.
Okay, fine. And then you said you had a friend that's single, and I said, okay, she's single, making good money. Nobody wants to be alone. You said she don't need no man
I
because
said
she's
living a
living
happy and
just
fulfilling
fine.
life. She is. She's living a happy and fulfilling life, and she is.
Tony,
Why
I
is
you
don't. I
shaking
don't.
your
why is that so hard for you to?
I don't believe that because we're humans, and every human we desire companionship. Everyone wants companionship. There's no way you can tell me that there's not moments where your friend is sitting at home, whomever this friend is sitting at home at some point saying, "Hey, man, I really wish I had somebody to be here with me tonight." And even with single people that's dating people or that's just sleeping with people, once they sleep with this person, this man get up and go home. You can't tell me they ain't sitting up there wishing that man would have stayed the night with him, or like you can't tell me that. There's nothing that nobody can say to make me feel like some people are truly happy with being alone. We are social beings. Everybody wants somebody.
That's
well,
that's
and
according to
so
whose standard, though. That's according to whose standard. Y'all are going off of your perception of a
I'm not
woman.
talking about a perception. I'm talking about people in general. That's not a
Okay,
perception.
that's a general construct. That's a general concept that you're coming up with. Nothing, something that we can't argue with. That's fact. None of y'all are women. None of y'all have been in a women's shoes. Y'all are going off of y'all's perception of women.
What does that have to do with somebody living
Because
being so happy
you're
that they're at
speaking
home alone?
about women. You're speaking about
No, I'm
women.
speaking about people.
And yet, tell you everything you said. That's a general construct. And yes, people are social, and they're set in the third. You have people that live happy and fulfilling single lives. Tracy Ellis Ross. She talked about how she's lived a happy and fulfilling single life.
Most of the women that say that is because they can't get a man or they can't keep a man. So that's what they use. I'm
And
happy with Jesus and Jesus alone.
well, when I look at Tracy
Lies.
Ellis Ross, I feel like she is living, and that she has lived a happy and
But
fulfilled life.
you're on the outside looking in. You know, I'm talking about what they do when they sit in their room by themselves every night.
Everybody though, and before you even get into a relationship, you have to be happy with
amen.
yourself. Everybody doesn't need that or doesn't need companionship or doesn't need a relationship to make them feel whole. Everybody doesn't need that. And I think that's a societal construct that's really especially disproportionately put up on women, that you have to have a husband, that you have to have a kid to be whole. And I think it's really gender biased. If you look and you see a woman 25 to 30, the first, oh, when you gonna have some kids, when you gonna get married? We are not asking the men. We're not asking men that in the same way. If you had a man that's in law school, nobody is going to be concerned about that. They're gonna be saying, when you graduate, what kind of job offers you got? But a women, this unconscious gender bias that we have, oh girl, you better hurry up. You better get you some kids. You better go and get you a husband. And that's a societal construct. Not all women, not everybody needs to be with somebody or needs to have kids or needs that to feel whole.
Megan, I didn't say need to. I didn't say the word need at any point. I said I'm sure they would like to have
Can
somebody.
y'all hear me?
A lot of them can't have it. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I can't
A
hear
lot
y'all
of
for some
people can't
reason, but
have
y'all
what
keep
they
going,
want.
keep going. I'm gonna figure it out.
A lot of people can't have
Y'all
what
can
they
hear me?
want because of how. Yeah,
Okay, I can't hear y'all, but y'all keep going, and I'm gonna figure it out on this side.
Yeah, a lot of people can't have what they want because of how they are. Like people just don't want to deal with these attitudes that women have nowadays. Like women have some bad attitudes, and then you can blame and say, "Oh, what a man made me act like this." But one thing I've proven to you many times, a man cannot make a person can't make anybody do anything that they don't want to do. You cannot make a person do something. A person's gonna do whatever it is that they want to do. So for people to say, "Well, man, made me do this," a man, no, you did it because you wanted to. You felt like it was necessary for you to do whatever it is that you've done. Nobody made you do it. But Brian, I know you've been quiet for a second. Go ahead and add to that if you have something.
I agree with the sister in so many ways. I just don't agree with the talking points, like the verbiage how she said it. But I understand where she's coming from. There are people out here that's cool with dying alone with an animal or with no kids. You know what I mean? Because there are old women that die alone and they cool with it. And that's fine. But at the same time, you know, I don't. I think women should. I think my personal opinion, just growing up seeing, man, I think the man and the woman, that we need each other, and we got to be together, man. And I just think that talking point that she was speaking, that's new age talk. Once we integrate with these white people, that's when women you start to see women talk like that. When black women start getting right, these white women in the '60s, that particular talk that sister was speaking, I'm no disrespect, nothing like that, but I understand where she's coming from also. Because they do see more money. They don't need a man. They really don't. They can take care of you if they need to. That's the position women are, and that's cool. I understand that, but and Tony, the last thing I wanted to, it was something that you were speaking about that I kind of disagreed with. Now it slipped my mind, man. Uh, you were speaking to her about slipped my mind, man. I should have stopped you when you were talking. But what you were speaking about last time before you gave it to me?
Yeah, I think I was talking about women not wanting to be with somebody. I feel like I feel being that we are naturally, humans and we want that companionship. I feel like everybody wants somebody. I just feel like some women, even though they want somebody because of the way that they are, their attitudes and stuff like that, that's the reason why they will die alone.
I can't say that, man. We gotta blame ourselves too now. Cause us. Let me speak for myself. Oh, it was something that you said that you can't you can't make someone do something that they don't want to do because women have their own mind. I gotta wholeheartedly disagree with you on that. We can manipulate a woman's mind to do anything we want her to do. Maybe not her, for example. There are women that let me speak for myself. I have ran game on women to get money out of them, to get in the draws, to to just manipulate a situation, have them do things, even though they probably knew it was wrong. But I knew as a man that this girl loved me, and she'll do anything I ask her to do. So, by let's say I'm gonna talk about myself. When a woman encounter a man like myself, she once I let's say I'm done messing with her. I hurt her. I broke her down. I made her bitter and angry. You see what I'm saying? So now when she meet another man, she gonna have an attitude towards that man. She gonna want to cuss the man. Now she don't think you a cheater because I was cheating on her. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I'm not a faithful dude like that. I ain't gonna get on here and act like, oh man, women don't be listening. Oh man, black women ain't shit. Nah, man, I ain't shit. So I understand women because women ran to a lot of dudes like myself, and I can understand the reason why they want to be independent. I can understand the reason why they don't want your money or want to do money. I can understand why they cool with sleeping by themselves at nighttime. I can understand that, bro. And it's a lot of women that been hurt. And I ain't just saying that just be on the female side, but
But at least you being honest.
What'd you say, babe?
At least you being honest, and you one of the first and one of like the only men, at least that are actually honest. Yes, Tony, you do be honest about it, but and I don't think it's anything wrong with being honest. You said, okay, I had some times where I wasn't shit, and I know it wasn't a woman, like it was me too. And that came up in conversation last night. that's what Lance was trying to get Dwayne to understand, that it's not always the black woman. Like sometimes the black man needs to be accountable too and say, you know what, man, I've had some times where I wasn't shit. And it wasn't all her fault.
You know something, but I have to. But see, Brian, you really proved my point to where I said you can't make a woman do nothing. Now, when you manipulate a woman and stuff, you still not making her do it. She's doing it because she want to do it because of how she feel about you. But that next man,
but you got to think women are emotional though, bro. Men are logical. Women are emotional.
Exactly.
Women go off emotion most times. So sometimes they don't be thinking, man. They think with this right here.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But you still not making them doing it. They're doing it because of how they feel about you. Because you can, like, say, for instance, you done manipulated a woman and she's head over heels for you. You ask her for $500, she boom, there you go, baby. Here it is, me. I come and ask that same woman for $500. She's like, hell no, you ain't my man, or I don't like you like that, or whatever. She's only doing it for you because of how she feel about you. Once she's not gonna do it for me too. That's what I mean when I say now. Unless I can manipulate her too and get into her heart, because you get into a person's heart and their mind, you can definitely get into their pocket. I done been there before. I wasn't good for. I'll be the first one to tell you. Back in the day, I wasn't good for nobody. When I first got with my wife, I wasn't good for my wife. Like, I've done some things that I'm not proud of. I'm glad we made it through that stuff. But I was a fool back in the day. But once again, like you kind of brought my point home. You can't make them do anything they don't want to do.
And to Brian's point and kind of what you just said too. So back in the day, women didn't really have a lot of opportunity. And me and Tony were talking about this earlier. My grandma had like a sixth or seventh grade education. So she had to get married. She had to, and then she ended up having like 5 kids. She could not just, even when my grandpa was acting up, she couldn't just leave because she could not support herself and her 5 kids. These days, it's a different ball game. Women don't have to accept a lot of those things that they were accepting. And to me, I would feel better about it. Some people take this as you know, that is something wrong to say. A lot of women, they have their husbands in their house and they're married to their husbands and they're with them because they want them to be there, because they want to be with them, not because they need them to be there. And to me, as you know, whether it was the flip side or whatever, I feel better about a person wanting me there, not because they need me there. Dwayne is always talking about these Filipino women. These Filipino women ain't working. They don't have them opportunities like that in the Philippines. So yes, they looking for a black king that's working and that can take care of them. So I mean, it's an influx to everything. You want your woman that's gonna sit down and it's not gonna say nothing back to you. Go ahead, get that woman that don't have no opportunity.
But you know what? Hold on.
And you can bounce around and do whatever you want.
You know what? I'm reminded of a song that's near and dear to my heart. The lyrics keep going through my head. Music Soul Child said in one of his songs, he said, I want to be with a woman who lets me lead her, but she also knows how to take control. This is the same thing that men want. Men don't want you to shut up. Men don't want you to be a doormat. We don't want to step on you, but we want you to respect the authority that we've been given. As men, we are the authority. It's God. If from a religious standpoint, God over man, man over wife, wife over children. That's the order of things. And when things get out of order, then we get out of line, and then we get left behind. You see what I'm saying? So
I'm glad you brought up the Bible. So don't forget, those scriptures also say that the man should be treating the wife as Christ treated the congregation. So like you said, if any of that is out of order, if the man is not treating the wife with the love and respect that Christ treated the congregation with, then it's not going to work either. See,
what it comes to, though, the one thing that sticks out to me is a man can go through hell. I can go through hell with my wife. You can go through hell. Tony can go through hell with you. Brian can go through hell with his girl, right? At the same time, it's not enough. We've gone through a hell, right? In relationships and marriages. But it's not enough for Tony to say, Megan, I hate you. Get on with your life. Suffer. Tony understands. Oh, my God. Hold on. Lance just joined the show.
Not oh my God. Yes.
Hold on. So
hey, Lance.
So we have to we really have to understand, guys. We really have to understand that the report that in the Bible where it says, husbands, love your wives. Tony will love Megan no matter what Megan says. I will love mine no matter what she says. Right? We love you, but at the same time, you're not keeping your end of the bargain, because the Bible also says, woman, respect your husband. Now, how many times a day is that broken? When he don't do something you like.
I think you first have to understand what is God's idea of respect, because that's the problem. Everybody's putting the value in what they want in the Bible. First of all, you have to figure out how much value you have in the Bible. There are a lot of discussions over what is Christianity, and whether it was an enslavement to us and a confusion, or whether it was our actual prosperity that led us out of what we've evolved to today. Second of all, we have to respect the evolution that we're at today, because if you want women to, like we said last night, to fall into that role, you would have to fall back into the suppression and take away the opportunity that we've been given. Things have changed, and I think that we have not yet defined what change is good, what change is bad, and what change is necessary to implement when it comes to respect, not just for wives, but for each other. We haven't learned how to respect ourselves yet. We haven't even learned. That's a grouping. I'm sorry. I think a lot of us have defined our own self-respect, but a lot of us are judging that and saying whether it's good enough or not. But what is our guideline? And is that guideline strong enough for us now? That's an individual path for every man and woman. That is individual for not anyone to be judged. I read an amazing book called Soul Revolution, where it's for 60 days, every 60 minutes, you speak to God as if you would any other friend, and as you would any other partner, as you would any other entity in your life that you consider valuable or important. And in doing that 1 hour every day where God thinks of us every second, I found out I was a really angry person. I was just really good at pretending like the stuff I was upset about didn't matter. And sometimes we do that. I realized I did that in my relationships. Like, I would say, oh, this doesn't matter, because in the grand scheme of things, like, I'm happy. But at the same time, I never stopped to ask myself what was happiness. I was just making sure that I was being the kind of person that I was taught to be, which was my mother. And my mother was an amazing woman, but she was also a very suppressed woman. She was born in 1960. She was born at a time still believed that women should be with men no matter what. The Bible says there's only 3 reasons for you to get divorced from your marriage. And I kind of like that rule, because you should show some commitment. But at the same time, we haven't learned how to commit to ourselves. It took me a while before I realized that all of my goals I never stuck to, because that was not the training path that I was on. I was taught to be submissive. I was taught to be kind. I was taught to be giving. I was never taught selfishness was a good thing. That investing into myself was worth it. My parents decided to focus on the humility aspect of the Bible, which is one of the things that now a lot of Black people question. Well, was that really just a way to just, simmer us down? But also, I believe as a human, you evolve to the person that you want to be, and there's a time where it just hits you that you decide that you're important enough. And then you get with someone who sees that you're important, not because you're displaying, but not only because you're displaying your importance, because they respect you as a person, because they respect themselves as a person. If you have a problem with respect with your wife or husband, they probably have a problem respecting themselves. So there's a lot that comes with the breakdown. There's a lot that hasn't been defined, and there's a lot that needs to be reevaluated and revalued.
All right, now, okay. Well, I'll pick it back. I'll say something to that. But Sierra joined the show just as Lance. So this is Lance and Sierra that just joined the show. So now now it's 3-on-3. It's even now. It's even now. So we don't want to hear no excuses after this is over. So so once I get into this, I want to get into what the thumbnail says. Now we're through the first part of the show here. So I want to talk about what the thumbnail says. Did your mama make you toxic? And for me, just to kick this off, and then I'll let you guys roll with it. I do feel that way. I do feel like there's a lot of moms out here, and I think that when we talked about earlier that black women don't hold black women accountable, I think daughters need to hold mamas accountable. Mamas need to hold grandmama accountable, right? Because there's a lot of women out here that taught their daughters, niggas ain't shit. Don't trust no man. Don't share your money with him. Keep your secret bank account to yourself. Don't do this for a man. Don't do this for a man. And when that's embedded in a woman from a child up, then that woman lives with that very thing. She starts to behave in that way, attitude like her mama, out in them streets. You know, she's for the streets like her mama. And then, but what you have to understand is we take a lot of advice from these mamas, and these mamas are going to die alone. These mamas don't have no husbands. These mamas, why are we if I'm looking for the antidote for a snake bite, why would I go to the snake and ask him for it? Right? He bit me. Right? Just like some of these mamas have done their daughters. And some of these women are terrible, because their mamas were very, very toxic. Now, I'll start with you, Sierra, since you came in. How do you feel? The first question would be, what is your definition of a toxic woman?
I mean, to be honest, the only way I can describe a toxic woman is what I have seen on TV. To be honest, I've never really just met a toxic woman. I said me.
Oh, yeah.
I have never met a toxic woman. My mother was not a toxic woman. My aunts were not a toxic woman. My grandmother was not toxic. So no, I don't have a definition for a toxic woman.
Now, I don't want to interrupt you, but for the people, tell them what you do for a living.
Oh, well, I am a licensed clinical social worker for the state of Louisiana and Mississippi.
Amen.
Right. So we got the right person on here. Talk about some of these mental issues with these women. Listen.
I have men come in too, so.
Oh, absolutely.
Say women.
See, you know,
it ain't just a women problem.
Yeah. So Sierra already. Me and Sierra go back and forth. Me and Sierra.
I don't even see how a woman can be the problem when you constantly say the man is the lead. Doesn't it seem like if women are so simple that they need leadership? Why haven't y'all got them in line?
They're rebellious.
No,
but
no.
Like I was going to say,
he's saying the man is supposed to be the lead.
There you go.
God doesn't have to do anything but be God for us to follow him. If you're just being men, then why is it so hard for you to follow? You have to realize there's a chain that's been broken. The authoritativeness that men so desperately think that belongs to them to reign. First of all, God already told you it's not his. It's not yours, it's his. He is giving you the opportunity to have something grow underneath you with his blessing and guidance. So, I mean, I don't understand. If I've been told that if you walk in the path of Jesus, God will naturally bring along what it is that you need, and things will naturally follow in their order. If that's the case, then why isn't it happening? Either God's wrong or men are wrong, because the women are too simple, according to your standards.
Women are simple.
According to your standards, you're saying that they need a leader. I think we need to redefine what you want in a woman that falls into the role of wife. What subjugation means.
Well, let me interrupt. The way that is set up, that the way that I feel or think about it is this. It's simple. If we believe, like we sit here and say we're Christians and we believe, and you say either God is wrong or men are wrong. And you say back in the day women were suppressed. Okay, that's your opinion. What I'm saying to what you're saying is this. Women do need to be led. I'm not going to have the Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade situation where he says, I don't feel like men should lead their wives. I think Gabrielle should lead me. She's my leader. What Gabrielle Union cannot, it goes back to what we talked about last night about Serena Williams, right? We're getting to the point now that women are, let's not sit up here and say Dwayne hate all black. I don't hate all black women. I don't hate women, period. I just wish they get their behavior together. However, last night we talked about it's getting to the point women are starting to challenge men in their areas of expertise, right? You got Clarissa Shields, the heavyweight champ, the female, calling out Jake Paul for a 5-round bout. Serena Williams wants to play Kevin Federer to prove a point, right? I don't like Jake Paul, but Jake Paul's gonna put her in a body bag. I don't like Kevin Federer. Actually, I have a huge crush on Serena, but I know Kevin Federer will beat the brakes off Serena Williams in a tennis match, right? So now it's getting to the point we're going to take the place of men. We're going to take the world over, but that's not the way it's set up.
I don't think that translates to that. You went from an entertainment and a sport to all over takeover of a country.
No. I'm going on what you said last night. You said women have evolved to the point that now they are the what word did you use last night? You said that women have
superior race, and they always have been.
Superior. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for.
They always have been. That doesn't mean that they're supreme. They are superior when it comes to what men and women can't handle. That's only been scientifically proven. But emotionally, I agree with you. Yes, I think women are more emotional. I think and that's but that's a grouping though. And I don't want to be unfair to some women who are already in leadership roles, but I think that most of the time when women are in leadership roles, it's because they've had to be. Like black men were considered really scary, and still I think subconsciously are, which is one of the reasons that we have so many policing problems. I think it's a deep-seated fear. A whole bunch of white people a long time ago worked very hard to make sure that fear was there, and now men have had to be in this passive, almost passive kind of role, so that we won't be acknowledged as antagonistic, while women have been allowed this space to be nothing but antagonistic, and it's been promoted and it's been rejoiced. I get what you're saying. I need you to understand though that someone's behavior is not someone's value, and that's the point that I try to make, because you take women's behavior, you decide, okay, well, this is not a woman, this is not a lady, because she stands in front of her man, or she has no man to stand in front behind. And that's completely, how do you expect a woman, if women are supposed to be led, how do you expect to lead a woman into a place of self-value if you're constantly judging whether they're a lady or not by whether they have a man beside them, when they didn't have a man there helping them to become a lady? If anything, I would be proud that they aren't fucking savages running around and just doing anything and everything. And I know you think that's what's happening, but like I said last night, you saw the statistics. Women are less pregnant, more going to school. It said black women are the most educated, in the world right now.
Okay, so hold on a second.
That's amazing.
Okay, so go Brian. Go ahead, Brian. I see you got your hand on your head. You got a migraine. Go ahead, unmute yourself, Doc. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk to us, Doc.
Black women are the most educated. That is correct. A lot of women are educated, but most of them not doing anything with the education. You can be educated all you want, but the bottom line is all about money. And a lot of women are making money, but they always throw this education thing like black women are most educated, like men just some dumb people. Getting an education doesn't equate to anything sometimes. Sometimes men, I didn't go to college, I got 8th grade education, and I make over $180,000 a year off doing nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And I didn't go to college. I could barely read. You know what I'm saying? I could barely count. I'm like, y'all bullshit, I'm bullshit. I can read and count. And I graduated from college too, but still, what I'm saying is we put so much value on education. It's like it's about all end all to everything. It's good to have, but we get an education to work for somebody. If we don't own nothing, like yeah, black women are educators, but it ain't a lot of black women that's creating enterprises. Or yeah, they got small businesses, whatever. That's cool. They can employ like 7 to 10 people, but there's like not big structures like T-Mobile or places like that.
No, that's not fact. That's not fact. I'm sorry.
I ain't talking about
that's
CEOs.
not fact. That's not true.
Yeah, go. Well, show me some. I'm
truth. Talking about like a prime example, Kaleidoscope, the lady that does the Miracle Drops.
Who knows what Kaleidoscope is? Anybody familiar with Kaleidoscope?
Miracle Drops.
It's a hair care product.
I have to keep reminding y'all don't have vaginas. Y'all don't have hair. So y'all are men. I wouldn't expect y'all to know. I'm sure Sierra knows. Sierra knew right off. It's a hair product, and it's a $40 million company. So I'm sorry, I had to interrupt you. That's not fact that black women don't own corporations, don't own businesses.
But what's the percentage though? What's the percentage?
Listen, but what's the percentage? Yeah, that's just one. But what's the percentage?
There are. Oh my! Look up the stat. That's what we had to do last night.
You said education. Listen. That's education.
No, I'm talking about corporations. Look up corporations.
That's what I'm saying.
You said that black women are owning businesses that employ 7 to 10 people.
I said it's not that many. It's not like it's a plethora of it like all around that's going to affect the black race. That's what I'm saying. So when people throw education, like education, I get it. Shout out to the black women with student loan debt. Shout out to them, all the black women with student loan debt out here. That's all educated more than black men or men in general. But what I'm saying is all these women got this education. Yes, shout out to that sister that got a Kaleidoscope. What's the name of it? Her name Kaleidoscope?
It's a $40 million company. It's a $40 million
company. Shout out to the $40 million company. Where is it located?
Black woman.
Where is it located?
It's in New Orleans.
Shout out to that.
And she's provided several thousands of jobs to the community. Several thousands of jobs. 60 years ago, Madam C.J. Walker was the first black millionaire. Like, let's talk about that. You're making it sound like
Biddy Mason was the first
black female. She was the first black female. That was 60 years ago. That was
Megan. Listen to that history. Megan. I was just about to say it, but he took it out of my mouth. Who was the first black female millionaire?
Biddy Mason, the grandmother of
Biddy Mason. Yes, sir.
Uneducated.
Go ahead.
60 years ago. To your point though, that I don't know. I just didn't like the way they came out. The old women are owning businesses with 7 to 10 people. It's not true.
Megan,
there
but
are a lot
you
of
just
black
named one of the
women that have corporations.
I said the majority got mostly 7 to 10 people.
I do like we did last night. Google this stuff because this is fact.
Megan, but
fact.
even
there
if we
are several black women that own corporations.
Megan, when you talking about percentages, what's that like 0.2 of the
population?
The population. Make sure we compare apples to apples. We don't make up enough of the population. Make sure we compare apples to apples.
But I'm saying that was Brian's whole point. It's not like it's just a whole bunch of black women owning business like corporations and stuff. Yeah, you named 2 or 3, but that's the whole point. That's what he was. That's all he was saying.
As a people, why are we focusing on that? And just like shout out to the women that have student loans. Because you have degrees don't mean that you have student loans. Like
you might need to Google it. You might need to Google it.
Google that. You need to Google that. I know too many black women don't have no student loan debt now.
I made a statement. I said just because you have degrees does not mean that you have student loan debt. That is not a fact. That is not a fact.
So how many women paying for their college straight out?
How many men aren't paying for their daughter's college?
You like the stats? I'm not.
I mean, not too many men paying.
Well, you gave me stats though.
Hold on, Sierra. What you say, Sierra?
I say not too many men are paying for their own college's degrees either. They have student loans.
Yeah, they do. Everybody does. I'm saying she's making it seem like everybody.
Said how many women have student loans paying for their own colleges? Technically, nobody really.
Okay, so last night on the show, I spoke to.
But the topic was women college education.
Right. Right.
But the crazy part is like, as black men, why aren't y'all like super fucking excited about this?
That's my point.
And check
It's
the
not
tone of the
benefiting me.
conversation.
It's not
The women are
benefiting me.
obviously. I mean,
It's not
check
benefiting me.
the tone. The tone of the conversation is like she's trying to tell, like women are trying to tell y'all should be like super proud of us. They are actually like reverting like the help that they were faked into needing from like back in the 1940s. You know, child support and WIC and all this shit.
Bring that up.
They're breaking that traditional degradation down by deciding to owe whatever amount of loans that they're gonna owe. But you know, the difference is when they get out of school, they're gonna pay it. It's going to take some years, but they're going to pay it, and then they're going to establish a home in which nobody will respect what they're doing.
Hold on.
Having a discussion over the value of the college
I have a statistic for you right now. Over 75% of African Americans, period, have their loans in deferment and have had their loans in deferment for 8+ years.
And should we shouldn't even be having to pay for that. College used to cost like $3,000 a semester. It's ridiculous.
And it should be free to us. They owe us that. They owe us that.
Oh, no. Y'all independent women. Y'all don't need nobody to give y'all shit.
That's a tone and a rhetoric. That's a tone and a rhetoric that you're laying on thick like vanilla icing. And not all women feel like that. As a matter of fact, it's from what I saw, a lot of women, black women, have just decided to not care about how anybody feels about what they're doing at all, and that's one of the that's a major problem. To pretend that somebody else's opinion doesn't matter, because God made us for connection. So I feel like that's the bigger issue, is that women feel like that they have to choose one or the other, or they should have to not care. And I feel like that causes a lot of resentment, even while they're trying to be proud of what they're doing. It's also tearing apart a part of them that makes them vitally, essential to a black man, and that's the part that's compassionate.
You know what? You need to run for the black women's president. Watch this. Let me ask you this question, because I got to get this question in there. I got to get it in here. So, how do you feel about, because, like I said, the thumbnail says, "Does your mama make you toxic?" So let's just jump right back in there, because we got off track. So how does toxicity in women affect the workplace? Right? Let's start at the workplace first. We're not gonna go to the family right now. But how does toxic women affect the workplace? Maybe you go first, because you burp first.
Well, I'm honest about. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you for that. I'm honest about that. I've had a struggle with toxic motherhood, with toxic women, and I'm honest about that. And I think at this point, and I don't blame my mom completely, because she had an experience as a woman, and I honestly don't feel like she knew any better. Like back in the day, therapy wasn't encouraged. The Black church was telling everybody to pray. They weren't encouraging them to go to therapy to take care of their mental, but I had to heal myself from the things that I experienced as a child, the things that I experienced from having a toxic mother. So I think at this point, rather than me dwelling on the past and dwelling on what I've been through, all I can do is advocate for my daughter and make sure that I've healed all those traits, and that I don't continue to cite that I break that generational.
Why are we making excuses? Why are we making excuses?
Dwayne, I'm not making excuses. You see
I'm
telling my experience, and I'm saying
what I'm saying is
healed myself. And then look at what you're saying.
At the first beginning of the show, I said that most of us in the black community, we make excuses for our parents on how toxic they were, right? You weren't on then, so you didn't hear me, so I'm going to elaborate.
Dwayne, and I heard that. But again,
we say, my mama, that's like me.
Somebody,
my mama, she was my mama.
Person that's not accountable. All you can do is heal yourself. I can't be responsible for my mom. I've invited my mom to therapy. I've invited my mom to get healed. I've invited some of the tools that I have learned, and I have tried to hold my mom accountable. But I cannot be responsible. Like I said, at this point, I can only be accountable for myself. I've healed myself. I've healed my feelings. I've healed myself in regards to having some of those toxic traits. And don't get me wrong, my mom was an excellent provider. But I think that all too often in the Black community, like the emotional aspect of parenting is like neglected. And so at this point, and I'm giving again, this is my experience. I'm not speaking for a majority of Black women. For my experience, and what works best for me is to heal myself and to make sure that I'm showing up as the best mother I can for my daughter, and making sure that I don't continue that cycle of being of toxic motherhood. And that's my experience.
What's toxicity? Because I mean, I was taught as a child, the only job that your parents had to do was get to bear you and keep you alive, and teach you all that they knew. That was it. So our parents just systematically didn't know much, and it was much about finances, but they taught us like a lot about heart. My parents did. I mean, my dad was, into some crazy stuff, but I never felt unloved, and neither did my mom. I was one of the few Black people that actually had both of my parents in the household. And it was not a perfect household. I often wondered what life would be like without my mother or my father, mostly my father. But it's to say that in him just being there, he taught me the example of toxicity, what I did not want in my life. And he also taught me to see the value of a person despite what their actions are. When I see my father now, I see a man who, for effort, there was never a point where I never felt unloved. And I just had to tell me and my family just had the discussion just 2 years ago. For the first time in 19 years, we sat down to a family dinner because my mother passed away when I was 19, and we all kind of broke apart. She wasn't toxic at all, at least I thought. But then as I grew, I realized that she taught me how to be submissive when I was naturally a leader, when I was naturally supposed to be in charge. That was a part of me, like as my genealogy and my gender, or that's what had been pushed upon me. But I didn't really get that opportunity. So like losing her at 19 and then being estranged from my father, I never had to have an adult relationship about what it being an adult meant, what it meant for them and what it should meant for me. That was the toxic part for me, the ignorance. So that was my toxicity. I feel like, so what is y'all's definition of like toxic?
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, so my definition would be someone that's not nourishing, not caring, someone that's jealous of their daughter or their son, like just things of that nature. Like I just don't understand like how a parent could want their child to fail, or how their parent can be jealous of their child's relationship, or how their parent will sit up there and make a mockery out of something that's serious. Like hypothetically speaking, for an example, if you say something like one of your kids are having some problems, and then your mama come and say, you better hope your child don't die, or out of spite or something, just to try to stab you, or try to jug at you and stuff like that. Like that's toxic. That's my definition of a toxic relationship. So, and I've witnessed this. I had never seen anything like that in my life, but I have witnessed this firsthand, and it's still, even right now, it's hurtful, but then it's also kind of shocking that, because I never thought that I would ever have a conversation about someone's mom like this, because I know my mom was completely the opposite. My mom was the sweetest woman in the world. She'll give you the shirt off her back, and I just never experienced that before. So to see a mom literally be jealous of her child is mind-boggling. It's crazy.
Can I ask how many moms were like mine and they just like gave and gave and gave? Like we grew up their whole entire life and they all ever is always them like giving and constantly supporting everybody else. So that's a toxic right there, because I still 35 years old. I'm learning how to give to myself. I'm learning that giving to myself is important. And a lot of Black men and women get in relationships and they don't even know how to nourish themselves, and they're telling these women, or they're telling these men, you don't know how to support me. Well, bitch, we just learned support. I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, we don't know support yet. We don't know. It's ignorance. It's not malice. I don't think anything's intentional. And I think that when Black men and women attack each other, they attack each other with the assumption or tone that it's intent, when in actuality, we're all trying their best. And I think if every black man and every black woman just had somebody in their life reminding them that you're trying your best. And I think I do feel like, I'm not trying to be an advocate for black women. I feel like that's what women did. I grew up in an entire family where, my aunts were not treated very favorably, but I saw every single person with a penis put on a pedestal, not even trying to be like derogatory or anything, because they felt it'd be important, because black people went through so long without feeling important, and black women were presently in that time currently not feeling important by their counterparts. So they wanted to make sure that their sons didn't feel like that. And to me, I feel like the women didn't really get like a super big focus. Like they knew they was loved and they knew they were supported, but like until they really started having kids, like my aunts didn't really we're all up in their daughters' like lives like that. And that's been like my experience. So like when you say that black women aren't supporting black men or they're not for black men, I mean, even to this day, like I don't believe you. I think that you are around a set of women who may be resistant to wanting to do that. But I think every single black woman has, I won't say every single, but I think most black women have seen their other black female counterparts, superiors, treating men, probably giving them not what they needed, but what they wanted. And now women don't know how to give what's necessary to themselves.
So hold on, Pastor. So
I'm on.
Hold on, Pastor.
We are going to go to church today.
So you're saying, let me say this. So you're saying a few minutes ago you said being toxic is giving. That's a part of being toxic.
No, I said learning only to give.
Learning only to
yourself, invest in yourself. That's a toxicity, because these white people around here, that's the reason they have legendary or genealogy wealth, legendary wealth. That's withstands, because I mean, they invest in themselves, they develop a plan, they learn their finances, or the finances have already been taught to them, or somebody already knows a little business, or one of their friends is a lawyer or something. Their network, they're instilled. And I think people take for granted, like race gives it like a similarity. I feel like that's why other countries work better, because they look
white people. Let me, because this is not about this tonight. This is for a whole nother show. But I'll give you this for free. Some white people that's in these bigger organizations. Let's take New York Life. Everybody's familiar with New York Life, the insurance company, correct? Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do we understand the history of New York Life? New York Life was one of the biggest insurance companies that covered slaves, right? So if an owner, they would take the slaves and they would put them on insurance policies. And if the slave got out of line and they hung the slave or killed the slave or raped the woman and she bled out overnight, then New York Life would pay on that property, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people that own New York Life right now are apologizing. Oh, we apologize for our ancestors, but they're not going to give you that $13 billion a year they're making. Huh? The descendants of the man that started New York Life, he got 14, 15 descendants. They're all on the board of the company. They're making $13.5 billion a year. They're not giving that money to the people and the families of the history that they've heard. Can you imagine having an insurance policy on you, and when you die, somebody making bread off you, and they take that money and go buy another mama, and then take that baby from her and separate that baby, then put that man over a stump and sodomize him in front of his family and break down his. See, we talk about women and what they've gone through, but can you imagine being a man and a slave owner buys you, and you're a big man like me, and I'm in front of my wife and my kids, and they come and string me up, put me over a stump, and they let the overseer come and penetrate me in front of my daughter, my son, and my wife. See, we talk about the pain of the women, but we don't. But I'm gonna leave that alone. That's another.
I agree with you there. I think you regret. I think you neglect to think about the woman who saw that. And we did speak about that last night. Did you neglect to think of the woman who saw that, and she did everything she could, including getting raped by the master and not telling her husband, so they would have some type of they tried to have some type of net,
It's not a competition of who was hurt or worse. They did the same thing to the women. They would take a pregnant black woman and strap two horses to both sides and whip the horses. That's how they kept the slaves in line. And the baby would fall out and they would let the horses run over the baby. So we both endured. I don't think it's a competition of who endured the worst. It's like at this point, it happened. Let's heal each other. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship where I was hurt worse or I was oppressed more than you were. No, we both were oppressed, men and women. So at this point, let's work together to heal each other and move forward. Let's not talk about who endured the most oppression.
Now I'm glad you went through that, because I'm glad you said that, because guess what? Back in the day, even though that man watched his wife get raped by the master, and that wife watched that husband get raped by the overseer, and watched their kids be sold, that woman stuck by that man in spite of himself. Right? But let me move. Let's pull from that right there, because those women no longer exist. So let's pull back down to
they no longer have to. There's no. Yes, you're right. There are no longer women being beaten and raped,
right?
And an astounding amount, and they're no longer property. Remember that. I need you. Let's move forward. Remember that they're no longer property, and neither are men.
Yeah. Well, when you get married, a woman's not your property; she's your wife. Because if we go biblical here, because I'm trying to stay away from it. But if we go biblical, the Bible says when you marry your wife's body becomes yours, and your body becomes hers. You two become one. Wives, this is what it says: woman, wives, and depending on what version you read, do not deprive your husband from his sexual desires, unless you both agree. And if you don't agree, then you give that man what it is that I told you to give him.
But
right?
What did marriage become? Yes, the Bible does say that, but what did marriage become?
Marriage ain't become nothing, because black women are the most. Hold on, marriage is nothing anymore, because if statistically speaking, if you want to take your laptop out and Google this real quick, black women right now statistically are the most unmarried women on the planet.
The what now?
The most unmarried women on the planet. Take your laptop out, take your phone out, and Google that. They're not getting married anymore, and that's one of the things that we need to stick together. Black people need to be black people. We need to have more babies. What our generation gonna look like? Like you, Lance, you just said it. Women don't want to do that anymore. Women don't want to be suppressed and barefooted and pregnant and walk around the house anymore. Right? That's not the thing that we want to do anymore. Right? So we're losing a whole generation of kids.
Now I say that I in saying that the bigger picture, everybody just wants to be appreciated. And I think that like a lot of women are out here just trying to get a way to go. I think a lot of men are out here trying to get a way to go. I just think black men get that more from black women than they say they do. I've just constantly seen men supporting my entire life. That's all I'm saying.
So, okay, let me ask you this. So do you believe,
why
Lance?
is the concept one and the same though? Hang on, that you have to be barefoot and pregnant to have kids. You can have a career and you can have kids.
Absolutely.
I disagree with that.
Said simultaneously.
You disagree with what, Lance?
I think you can have a career and kids, but I think you're gonna lose something. I think there is something that gets lost when you do.
You don't have to. I have 5 kids and I have a successful career.
But that's because you have a supportive husband.
And I have a supportive husband. And it's about what works for you. It's about what works for you.
That's it. That's it. That's the whole thing.
When I met my husband, I had my career. When I met my husband, you have to know what works for you. You have to do what works for you. Again, that's the whole thing with this conversation. Nothing has to be one size fits all. You start judging people when they do things different from what you do, and you criticize them. You have a problem with it. We can be different, and it's okay.
And going back, and Tony, maybe you're right. Maybe I feel like that doesn't really work, and something gets lost in translation when a woman has a career and kids, because I was in a situation where I've never had seen that support, like really true, like support of a woman, and giving them exactly what they need and putting their priorities as yours. So, I mean, that is like a different aspect. I personally believe that just like, I think something gets lost. I think that kids need to be watched like now more than ever, because they're literally exposed to everything, everybody's ideas, everybody's concepts, everybody's theories about how they should.
And Lance, I have to give kudos to my. I have always said that I could not have a career. I could not have the career that I have if it wasn't for my husband. I always give kudos to my.
I've been preaching this shit for the last. I've been preaching this shit since yesterday, and now all of a sudden she's gonna say.
And we talked about this. I have never said that my husband don't support me. When have I ever said that?
You not know, but you got a whole lot to say about black men. One size fits all. Yeah, I don't want to
Again, Dwayne. The same thing you do with black women. You see one black woman at the subway, like you talked about last night, they got an attitude. Not all black women got an attitude.
No. I said not all, but some. Sierra, raise your hand, Sierra. I've been knowing Sierra since she was a kid. How many times, Sierra? I've been knowing Sierra since we were babies. Sierra, how many times have I told you I'm proud of you, Sierra, of your life, of your accomplishments?
All the time.
All the time. You know why? Because you're
you're
the exception to the rule. You're the exception to the rule, right? You went to school.
You want to be honest, though, Dwayne, because I'm really not an exception to the rule. Because I was listening to you guys last night, and you said something about unmarried women and having babies by this man and that man and this man and that man. So technically, I'm an exception to that rule. You want to know why? Yes, I am a college educated woman. Yes, I have a master's degree. But guess what? I have 4 children. I'm unmarried.
Can I ask why?
I am an exception. So I say, you tell me you're proud of me because I feel like you know me. But last night, you were downing women like me.
Now, again, go ahead. Hold on. Lance had a question. Go ahead, Lance.
Can I ask why you're single now? Like, without getting too deep or anything, like.
Well, it didn't work out with the father of my children, actually. To be honest, we were together when I was going through my degrees. And he wasn't. He wasn't. And I mean, he fell out of college or whatever. And I guess we were supposed to be high school sweethearts or whatever. But every day I would hear, oh, just because you in school, that don't mean you're going to be smarter than me. Oh, just because you got a bachelor's degree, that don't mean it's people who work at McDonald's with a bachelor's degree. Oh, just because you going to school with getting a master, you know. So I'm just going to be honest. I stayed with him. I'm not going to lie. I stayed with him because I knew where I wanted to go. I knew, but I'm saying, and I'm not going to say that he was a bad guy, because whenever I was in school, he kept my daughter. You know, at the time I only had one. So when I was in school, he kept my daughter. He was a good provider. It was just the negativity that I could not deal with.
Now since he's not here, because we talk about the same person.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
So I know him, right? And so let me take. So look, hold on. Let me tell you what happened.
He don't got to defend the
No. Let me tell you what. I'm not gonna protect him. I'm gonna tell you his story. This dude was a star athlete. He can throw a damn ball 60 yards laying on his back. Right? He went to college. You know why he failed out of college? That football career ended. When his body betrayed him, he became resentful toward her. This dude could have went to the league, bro. But injuries tore him to pieces. And so what he did was, in his mind, it messed him up so bad, he started being resentful. He started saying, damn, we both came to college to get our degrees. Now I'm just gonna drop out. I don't have football no more. The thing that I love, my scholarship, it's gone. I don't have anything. I'm busted. And you know, and if you've been an athlete before and you put everything into your whole life to get to a certain point and somebody breaks you, that's a horrible thing to experience. Now, I'm not taking up for him because he should step up and be the father he needed to be, the man he needed to be for her. He shouldn't have resented her, but what he should have done is should have went and got some therapy. He should have got therapy based on the fact that his mind was not in the right place because he felt like, I'm a star. I'm a future NFL player. And now this guy that's not even going to make it anywhere, that's going to be working at a car dealership, just hit me and took my life from me.
Look at that concept. I need you to hear that. He, in his mind, he was a star. And Sierra, I'm sure you fully supported that theory that he was a star. Stars don't shine without a universe to be in now. So I mean, you have if you're gonna recognize your shine, you have to recognize where your shine reach and understand that sometimes you burn out. Like there's a whole other discussion about self worth and self value. But the whole point is that if you're with a black woman and she's telling you, "Hey, I got you until," try to your best to shorten that until time. And like don't be like completely supportive. And I think in black women being supportive, they have created a kind of lazy, acceptable kind of like mindset. Whereas like 60 years ago, you weren't even a man if you didn't work. Period.
True.
Period.
But Dwayne,
And
I
you didn't
heard you say,
deserve.
and
You didn't even.
you've been saying this to me all night. Oh, no excuses. I'm sorry, and I agree. Things can happen to all of us. But I heard you say about 10 excuses for this man. I
Whoa,
did.
whoa, hold on,
Oh,
Megan.
he fell from this,
I
he fell
didn't,
from that. Sierra was there supporting him just because
Megan.
you hold a sports scholarship. You can figure it out. Those student loans that y'all were talking about, he could have got some of them. All I'm
Megan,
saying is, I heard you say 10 excuses, and you've been saying to me
Megan.
all night,
Let me
"Oh,
ask you,
no
Megan. Let me ask you
excuses,
a
no
question.
excuses."
Megan,
Okay,
hold on. Let me ask you a
black
question,
women,
Megan.
no
Megan,
excuses
let me
for
ask you a
black
question.
women. I got it.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Megan. You make good money, right?
I do.
You make good money, right? You get
I
in your
do.
car tomorrow. You get a promotion at your job, $50,000 increase in your pay. You on your way to your job, a drunk man that's working at 7-Eleven come across the highway and T-bone you. You're paralyzed from neck down. Your job is no longer available.
She
You
would have
don't.
a
You
fit.
don't need to tell me your life will be in shambles. You mean
She
tell me
would.
you won't be
She would.
mentally fucked
Dwayne, but
up?
She would. She would
let me
have a
ask you
Oh
fit.
my
something.
God!
Let me ask
Stop it!
you something. No, let me ask you
Oh
something.
my
No,
God!
could that be my excuse? Could that be my excuse for the rest of my life? Could
What
that
you
be
That
my
never
would be the
excuse?
paralyzed from
excuse.
neck down? You
Could
sucking
that
out
be
a straw
my
for the rest of
excuse?
your life?
Could
You
that
sucking
be
out a
Yeah,
my
straw for the rest
is
of
he
excuse?
your
on?
life?
Is he in
I
a
didn't hear
wheelchair?
you say
Is
nothing
he
about it.
paralyzed? Is he sucking on a straw though?
That's
Okay,
what I was
don't
just
go to
gonna
that
say. I didn't hear
extremity.
you say that. Let's
That's
compare apples to apples, Dwayne. Let's
I,
compare
hold on,
apples
I
to
can't. I
apples.
can't. Hold on. I can't go to
You
that
know what?
extremity.
I
But
can't even
every
ask
time
you
I
about
bring
this
up
story.
toxic black women, y'all talk about slavery.
Oh my God.
Toxicity is not an
Wait, how you come with a
toxicity
story
isn't
about
an
if you
extremity.
paralyzed from
Toxicity
the
is a
neck
learned
down? Okay,
behavior.
Sierra, is the man paralyzed from the neck down?
He's not paralyzed.
I rest my case, Your Honor. What?
It's just
Let's
that her
compare apples to
Sierra's
apples.
story. I know we're only hearing her side,
Oh,
but Sierra's story is like similar to a lot of like what I hear that happens in between
Dwayne
like
is the advocate for him. Dwayne is the
a,
lawyer.
a black relationship. And I think like especially being black people, I think while we're immersing ourselves in this modern world that white people have created for us to live inside and coincide, I think that's really hard. We don't have a rule book, to our moms and dads who most of them aren't that college educated. We don't know how to reference to them, hey mama, like my girlfriend, just went through this, that, and the other. She's having a really hard time. What do? We don't have no parents to do that. But black women are just supposed to know, right? Because your mama and your grandma knew, right? Just because
No,
they
but
knew, like every woman's
but
supposed to know.
okay. What happened to the lineage of women that taught their daughters though? Like right
There
now,
are
there are
women out
girls
here
here.
like this.
Can you say that
Yeah,
again?
There are women
there are
out here
women.
like
Hey,
that. We keep focusing
Dwayne,
on
Tony
the
say add
negative.
him
This
back.
this
I'm
my
sorry.
thing. This is my thing right here, bro. We so focused on the negative of women and the negative of men. We never talk about the positive of black love. We don't never focus on the black love. We focus so much on it.
Facts.
Yeah. Just like I get on people, they get on bad children. There are great children out here. Yes, there are bad children.
Facts.
But at the same time, we ain't getting nowhere if we ain't talking about the positives and the happiness of black people in general. Like even for me, I get tired of hearing about black women don't do this, black men don't do this. So what? Let's not deal with those type of people. I blame people for the people that they choose. You choose that fucked up motherfucker, that's on you. You gotta learn from your situation. And some people
True.
don't learn from their situations. And as a people, we gotta understand that people do not learn from situations. I grew up in a nice environment home. I grew up to stand on your own. I grew up around men. Like I was raised by men. My mother was a strong mother. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't see devastation in my household.
Right.
I seen positive in my household. I've been to Africa as a kid. My father took me to Africa as a kid. I've been to Africa 7 times. So I seen things and experienced things in life for me to understand that, listen, there are motherfuckers that got mothers that hate them. There is
Mhm.
motherfuckers out here that mothers that love them. People out here with no fathers and people out here with fathers. I had a loving father. He was in my life. Every black if there are people without fathers and people with fathers. Most people I know, I grew up with, let me speak for myself, had fathers. But I understand there are people with no fathers. We always focus on the negative, but we always focus on the positive. We would never move forward as niggas. I like to say niggas, as niggas, if we keep focusing on the nigga shit and that's what's going on. It's gonna be bad. It was bad slaves. It was some fucked up slaves back in the day. It was some fucked up
So
black slaves. They did fucked up
so
shit
let
to
me ask you
black
this,
people.
Brian. So let me ask
Talk
you this,
to me.
Brian. So when
Talk
it
to me.
comes to toxicity, do you think toxicity equals masculinity in women right now? Where we are right now in the world right now?
Talking about what? When women say I'm a toxic masculine man.
But no, no, no. I said, do you think toxicity equals masculinity in our women? Do you think them
No,
being
cause I ain't
toxic makes
around
them
them.
right? You choose right. You're making a choice. But what happens is that you have to look at it like this. I know girls right now that are my daughter's age, 18 years old. They don't know how to do anything but glue a wig to their head. They can't boil eggs. They can't boil water. They can't cook noodles. They can't. They're the basics, right? We've lost that. And
Yankee
so
101.
Who lost it? Who lost it? Hey, you got
what I'm saying is
Dwayne.
Heck, you
Back in
can
the day, it
Google
wasn't perfect,
recipes
bro.
now,
It
Dwayne.
wasn't perfect back in the day. We keep thinking the 30s and 40s doing Black America was perfect, and it wasn't perfect, bro. The same shit right now is going on. Was going on back then, bro. There was no
okay.
It
You
was
know what?
swept
homes
under the
built.
Yeah,
rug.
hey, hold
It
on.
was
You
swept
know
under the
what?
rug.
Guess what? I agree with you. I agree with you that it was swept. I agree with you that it was going on back then, but it was not. Look, watch this. It was not paraded. If you caught somebody cheating back in the
It
day,
was swept
if
under
you
the
caught a man
rug.
cheating back in the day, you had to literally be under the damn bed. Didn't nobody air
Social
out
media,
nobody
bro.
laundry? People mind their own damn business. People wasn't in
That was
everybody's
just
business. People wasn't. Yeah, everybody mind their
no.
own damn business.
The
I
hoes were staying in
disagree.
their place. My great
Everybody was in
grandpa,
everybody's
we
the
found out
intent.
my grandpa had 5 whole daughters. He had a whole nother family.
My great
Like
grandfather had 3 families. I
Mine
was one
did
part, and
too.
he had 2 more.
But you know what? My
All the
uncle,
time.
go ahead. Yeah, my uncle back in that day, his name was Thomas. Well, he's we still finding some of his kids. They coming out the woodwork. But
Where's one on family reunion?
but Uncle Thomas said, I mean, yeah, seriously, we have a family reunion. People they'll come in and we'll be like, this is Uncle Thomas' daughter. We're like, damn, another one.
I,
So he's dead now. But he used to tell us the stories. I used to be in the grocery store. This is what he said. His wife's name was Pat, and he said they're being Pat. Him and Pat would be in the grocery store. And he said he'll see 2 or 3 women because the town's small. Everybody know Monroe, Louisiana, so small. He said he will see 2 or 3 women he had sex with. He said those women were so obedient to their privacy that he would walk right past them. They wouldn't look his way. He wouldn't look their way.
I got
well,
that. I
that's
do
what I
that
said. I
now.
mean,
I do that to
the
women
hoes
now.
were in check back then. The hoes
so
were
it
in check
sounds
but
back
like the
then.
toxicity was silence.
Yeah, it
it's
was.
Now,
still today
now it's
though.
glamorized to be a side chick. No, it's glamorized to be a side chick now.
Yes,
It's that
yes,
they were in check
yes.
back then. That's one thing I can't. Yeah, the side chick culture is strong now. Now it's
But look, y'all
glamorized.
gotta look at it. You correct. Y'all are correct, but y'all forgetting one thing. If grandma and granddad had social media, we'll see everything that they do. They didn't
That
have
Okay.
part.
social media then, so it was
They didn't
easy.
have
Back
text
in the day,
messages.
it
They
was
didn't have
easy
none
for
of
Lord,
me to
that.
cheat.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was
can we
easy for
out?
me to cheat before texting. It's hard to cheat because everybody's social media. Think about the news. All we knew was local news or the news that come on Sunday. Now we know what's going on in California. We don't even live there in a split second. So
Mhm.
everything is faster now. It's social media, so we see it more. If you get off social media right now, Dwayne, if you just completely get off social media, you wouldn't see the stuff that you've seen and crying about, what we cry about every day. If you get off social media, you wouldn't see that because your life is not like that. But you see it on social media, it's going to be magnified more than what it is. Think about reality when you walk out your door without the phone. What do you see? You don't see fucked up shit. Police
You
ain't
don't.
blowing niggas' brains out. It's not happening. It's till you pick
Okay.
up your phone.
All right. Now let
And
me
it
say
was
this.
crazy when Facebook went down. Everybody was like,
yes.
"Oh my God, what happened?" I didn't even know. I was sleeping that
I
day.
didn't know either till later
I
on.
read a book. I started watching some TV. I was watching Mad About You. I cooked me something to eat. And then like at 7:00, somebody hit me like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've been trying to call you because they ain't got my phone number." That's crazy to me that anybody even knew. It was a day, not even a whole day.
About to say it wasn't even a whole day.
Yeah. So let me say this.
And people were going crazy.
Oh yeah, they
Lost
were.
their mind.
They were. So let me say this. When it comes to toxicity, seriously, do you feel like, because Megan said earlier about how she grew up with a toxic mother, and so many other people grew up with toxic moms. But when you have a toxic mom that instills all those things into you, I understand what you're saying, Brian. But and if we take our phones away, right? I still have family members that I see that my mama could have done better with my sister. And now my sister's living a life that's not what she wants to live, and now she's going to be miserable for the rest of her life. And now she still carries on that behavior because that behavior is a learned behavior. Somebody said that earlier, learned behavior from mama. And most of the time, mama is that person. And like Tony said, I've experienced it, I've heard it, I've seen it in other people, I've seen it in my own life, where mother-in-laws and mothers will tear a daughter or a son down. Your man, I don't give a damn about you having no man. Your man ain't shit. I don't give a damn about you having no woman. That girl ain't shit. I don't care about your marriage. I'm not telling you happy anniversary. Fuck y'all. And you got people that are love their parents, love their mom, and want that love and support from their mama. And it gets more toxic that the mama don't support her, but or him. And then it gets more toxic when the support's not there. And then on top of that, you want the relationship, and the mom is refusing to have it.
But
That's go ahead.
Yeah, you know something, because I hear us, we keep talking about like these learned behaviors and stuff like that. But I can honestly sit up and say, like, when I was little, when I was younger, like we were raised in we were poor. We were poor. And
Yeah, me too.
so and it was crazy because we stayed in like housing projects and all that stuff. And so my cousin, when I was an adult, my cousin moved into those same projects. And it was crazy because when I went to visit my cousin, I seen some of the same people that I went to school with that was now residents over there. But I looked at that as growing up, like I knew my life wasn't the way that I wanted it to be now. So everything negative that happened to me when I was younger, I would think like, man, when I get older, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that I'm not living that way. So I used all that negative stuff as kind of like something to uplift me and to make me want to do better. But some people become products of their environment, and that's what happened to a lot of the people that I went to school with. And
Exactly.
so and so, with that being said, because I got a college degree too, I'm actually 4 classes away from completing my master's. So,
Congratulations.
so when it comes to education, like I'm educated as well, and I need to go ahead and finish the 4 classes. But I mean, because I ain't been to school in like it's been a minute, but I need to go ahead. But I literally have 4 classes left, and I'll be done with my master's degree. But I wanted to do better, so we can't use that as an excuse. Well, that's what I was brought up around. That's what I was raised around. I was raised around some foolishness too, but because of the fact that I made a choice at the age of 5, 6, 7, however young I was when I made the decision, I was like, man, I want to do better than this. I know, like we were the kids waiting at the mailbox. Remember the food stamps used to come in the little paper books? We
Yeah,
were the kids waiting at the mailbox. You get a letter this thick with food stamp books in it. We were at the mailbox waiting for those, and I was like, man, that's
Okay,
not
give me one of them grade slips, mama.
right.
Just
And
one.
but I knew that's not how I wanted to raise my kids. And now, like my kids, and one thing I'm instilling in my kids, like they're blessed. Like, and I tell my kids all the time when they tell me thank you, I be like, make sure you say thank you, God. And now it's to the point when I give them something, they'll be like, thank you, God. And that's how I want to raise my kids. I don't have them bragging about the stuff that they have or whatever. Like that's not what it is. And I hope that when they grow up, They kids have more than what they have, and so that's what I'm like when we talk about generational wealth. That's one of the biggest things that I'm looking at right now, and I'm glad I got a wife. We both on the same page. We thinking bigger picture. Like, man, when I die, this is and that's what white people have. They have generational wealth. A lot of those people, they like Donald Trump said, well, you know, he went and borrowed $1 million from his daddy and started his own business. So he started by himself and say he borrowed $1 million. How can you say you started by yourself and then the next sentence say you borrowed $1 million from your daddy? Which one of us can go and borrow $1 million from our daddy? It's not happening.
I can borrow $10 from mine.
Right. So if we say we started by ourselves, we really and truly start. We don't have that generational wealth. So and that's one thing that I'm trying, that me and Megan, and I'm glad we're on the same page, but we're trying to make it to where our kids can start. Like, we don't have the generational wealth now, but hopefully, you know, when my kids have kids, that's when we'll actually be able to see it, or they'll be able to see that generational wealth. So
And you know what?
you can learn from it, or you can just sit back and become a product of it. And I chose to grow from it.
And I think eliminating God is kind of like, whether you believe in God or not, church is the only kind of structure that we've ever had. Anybody. It's the only time that we've ever had, like you brought up last night, Joe, shame that we don't have that in society anymore. Now, whether it was useful or not, I don't know, but it did keep structure. Structure is always useful. Structure is always necessary. And now people are kind of like trying to develop their own structure. And that sometimes comes at the sacrifice of, you know, companionship, or, you know, consideration, forgiveness, commitment, togetherness. Like, sometimes does get thrown to the wayside. And I think that's part of the toxicity. They've eliminated God and created the distraction or illusion of individualism, when in actuality, there's absolutely nothing you do in life, being born or dying, that you do alone. Not. Right? At some point, you have to be led. You have to be led to school. You have to be led to education. Like, you have to be led to knowledge. You have to be led in the lessons of love. Like, you know, or you either learn it from somebody else who's not even fit to give you a lesson on your life. But I mean, still, there is no individualism at all, and I think that's a toxicity. The feeling of being disconnected, not in a community, not in a network. That's I feel like is the toxic part, is the fact that we don't really feel like we need each other, and we've been made to feel like we don't need anything to be happy, when in actuality we're just surviving if we don't have each other.
But
everything else is pointless.
I want to add to that as well, because you said about us needing God and stuff. But the thing about it is, when we're looking at these shows on TV, the things that our kids idolize, God is never mentioned. Like, never. You don't need God to become a millionaire. You don't need God to become a TV star. You don't need God to do any of those things, or at least they think you don't. Because, like I said, they're not praising God on TV, on those reality shows. They're not talking about going to church on a Sunday. They don't have episodes like that. If they had a church scene in it, they probably gonna, unless some drama happened in church, they're gonna take it out. So the things that our kids are idolizing is not what they're actually seeing. So I think that's one of the problems too. We can teach them about God all day, but if they looking at us, we going to church every Sunday, but yet we still struggling. And you got this guy who ain't never been in church, and he got diamonds all in his grill. He done put a diamond in his forehead. So what I need to go to church for? Why? Because you don't need that to get what these guys have, and our kids, everybody want that fast money. They want that easy money. They want the Lambos. They want the Maybachs. They want all of this stuff, and unfortunately, they're not getting that from church because they don't see that in church.
Right, and let me say this, Tony. When you said something about the generational wealth, it made me think about Akon. And Akon he's almost $75 million away from being a billionaire. Watch this. It's crazy, right? So what he did was, he said, they asked him, Charlemagne the God asked Akon, how did you accumulate so much wealth and you didn't put an album out in 10 years? He said, well, basically, I'm behind the scenes. I'm invested in different companies. I'm invested in oil, gas, lighting. I'm invested in everything. He said, most people invest in the Nikes. He said, I invest in the boxes the Nikes go in. He said, it's an untapped business that people say, oh, I just want to invest in Nike. He said, but I'm invested in the cardboard that they put the Nikes in, the shoe boxes. And so he said he has a 10% rule. And I got it right here. I'm gonna read it to you. He said, I got a 10% rule. Whatever I'm purchasing isn't 10% of 100% value of what I got in the bank, I don't touch it.
I break that down.
He said, huh?
Break that down for me. 10%, the 10% rule, 10% of what, 100 of what?
Yeah, he said, I'm gonna read it to you again. He said, I got this 10% rule. Whatever I'm purchasing is 10% of 100% value of what I have in the bank. I don't touch it.
I like that. That's a good rule.
He said that's how he accumulated his wealth. He said he go look in his bank. He said, yeah, I don't got 10% or 100% of that. I'm good. I don't need that private jet. I don't need that Lambo. I'm good.
But see, that's bigger picture thinking though, because I've never thought about investing in a shoebox. Like never. Like that's a good idea, and I'm sure the stocks are probably cheaper too for the shoebox. But every pair of shoes is gonna need a shoebox, so that man. Like you don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about it.
See, and that's a beautiful mindset to have, because that means that you're in the mindset of assessing value all the time. And I think that we live in a society where we're constantly, as well we might need to be, assessing the value of ourselves, that we might even like move into like an idolization of our own self that's not really like warranted or deserved, you know. Like we treat ourselves like we're gods sometimes because that's what we're taught, you know, self-love and self-worth and self-this and self-that, but nobody teaches you about how everybody else can be incremental in the buildup of you and the success of making like a valuable person.
Okay, now let me say this. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. So Lance, with you being a part of the LGBTQ community, right? How do you feel like there should be levels? Do you feel like some people in that community can be, how can I say it, toxic as well? Let me give you an example. Lil Nas X. What are your thoughts on Lil Nas, on my son, 9 years old, coming to say, Daddy, remember the dude that made the song on the horse? I'm gonna take my horse to the old time. I said, yeah. Daddy, how he get pregnant?
A mess.
I said, what? He said, son, that's how I found out. He said, Dad, I'm for real. I was at school. Watch this. I was at school, and one of the kids there got a phone, Daddy, and we was at recess. Kids don't even play at recess no more. They play on damn cell phones. This is ridiculous. So the little boy showed him on his cell phone that Lil Nas X was pregnant and said he's waiting on his water to break. My son came home and asked me 1,000 questions. Daddy, I thought you said men can't have babies. I thought you said, I said, son, listen. He's not pregnant. He's pretending to be pregnant with his album. He said, but Dad, that's not what men do. Men don't pretend like they're pregnant. I said, I know, son. I said, but he's pretending to be pregnant. It's all the publicity stunt for him to make money. How do you feel about Lil Nas X? I have no problem with him being his life. You make your choices. You do what you want to do with your life. Whatever you want to do with your life, that's your life. But how do you feel about him forcing that down people's throat with the blood and the being
he's
the
not
influence?
Forcing that. He's not forcing it. The entertainment industry is fully allowing it, and it just as we've always been entertainment for other people. And that's just it. I mean, he also, but I mean the fact is that there is a disparity between what he does and what other people do, because Tony Hawk, you know, the blood in the shoe. Tony Hawk did the same thing, skateboards and crickets, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. So like one person can do this, another one can't. On a deeper level, I think sexuality is pushed way too much in general. I think people forget that homosexuality is about sex. It's not about identity. That sexuality isn't an identity, that you are a multifaceted person, and that sexuality is such a small part of it, and the part that's important in sexuality is the result of sex, which is procreation. I don't I don't have any feelings about like specifically Lil Nas X because like he's how old? You know, what does he know about self-value and self-worth? You know, he's growing up in an entertainment world right now. And that's unfortunate that's how he makes his money. But on another side, I mean, he is investing and he is making his money. But unfortunately, nobody will ever see, you know, anything smart or intelligent that he's doing. Although see is this pizzazz that he's putting out there, and that's really really sad. It's really
Now,
sad that sexuality is glamorized in general.
so what do you
And
think of what? And so Brian, what are your thoughts on that?
Number one, with my child, if let's say I did have a child that come to me, but how I raised my son in a different way. You know, just respectfully speaking, I raised my son to be a heterosexual male. So throughout his childhood, I always pointed out certain things that boys, you know, do and don't do. I teach my children, and I fast forward even about music, just not Lil Nas X, just not the problem with what's going on, you know. But I teach my children about the trap music, all that gangster shit. All that, I just teach them that it's entertainment. That's in my household. So when my son see Lil Nas X, he know that ain't some shit that he gonna be on. My son still like girls. He don't watch that shit. That ain't him. He ain't gonna even click on it. So I don't have to worry about that with my child because I control what was in his head before he even knew about Lil Nas X. But on a bigger scale, there are children that don't have a father figure in their household or a mother they can teach their children about, like, hey, don't let this influence you if this not what you about. You know, this is entertainment. Now, if you do feel if your sexuality do go that way, cool. But don't let this music influence you to be something that you're not, because we see how music influenced some black people back in the day was selling drugs, cash money records, throwing money. That's why we have money problems now. Trap music now it went to the everybody popping pills, drinking syrup now. You know, so now we're in a whole culture. Girls are hoeing now. You know what I'm saying? So not all girls. I ain't saying all women are hoeing, but you know what I'm saying. So now, man, it's I don't agree with Lil Nas X, but at the same time, for me and my household, because they say charity starts at home. My kids ain't rocking it. They're just in my household,
Black
and my
isn't right.
kids know how to
Black
move
isn't right.
in
Yeah.
my
So
household.
You
I
know,
so
mean,
y'all.
I,
they,
So,
I,
they they drive me crazy. They got same sex. They like they and have all these Nickelodeon shows, and they got same sex parents on Nickelodeon shows, but like nobody's mentioning God. That's weird to me, and
right.
that shows a focused destruction
Yeah.
of whatever standard that you live your life. Usually like people don't want, there was a time and place where you didn't even like really kiss in front of kids, no matter if you were straight or gay or whatever. It was a respectful thing. Sexuality was a thing to be discovered between, you know, the partners and privacy. And it's crazy that like our focus has shifted to sex, it's shifted off everything else because we that's what they try to make it seem like we are superior in. I mean, black women have been used as sexual tools and been revered as sexual tools. You talk about these black men that like, you know, go to other countries and like go and get different wives from different countries. But I mean, in actuality, that doesn't mean that the black woman's less desired. That just means the black woman's never been like put in the picture frame of commitment.
Okay.
And they've always been like the playthings, and they've always just been seen as the mothers, and they've always been, and in my experience, they've always been seen as the strength. They've always been seen as the sex symbol, but just never the commitment. And I think that didn't have anything to do with them. They broke that down in us a long time ago when they started killing us. I'm sorry, not like they've stopped, but
Right.
it's slowed down.
Right. So
So
let me segue into this, and then this is gonna be it for us. I'll let everybody speak on it, then we're gonna wrap up for the night. So
before you start on that, can I make a comment right quick about what
yeah, yeah,
Brian
yeah. Go
said?
ahead, bro. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, when we was talking about the homosexuality and stuff like that, um, I don't think that like homosexuality is being taught in homes or whatever. I don't think you can teach your kid to be a homosexual. Um, I think we had a conversation about this, and I know some people may disagree, but I honestly feel like people are born that way. I saw a 2-year-old kid one time, and I'm like, man, that little boy is gay. And 10 years later, like that's what he is. I mean, you are what you are. Like, I don't think even with Brian, I definitely have to disagree with you. Like, it doesn't matter if you teaching your kids to be straight and you tell them that that's bad and stuff. If that's what they are, that's what they are. I don't think you're going to change that. I mean, he may what'll probably end up happening. They probably won't act like that around you or something like that, or they'll try to hide it from you until it just get to the point to where you just know that that's what it is. But I don't think you can change that if that's what it is.
Oh, I'm not worried
So,
about
so,
that,
so,
man. Yeah, and I understand where you come from because your children can make decisions that you would disagree with. You know, they're just part of parenting. But for me and my household and how I run things and how I'm the big dog up in here, they gonna listen to me.
But
That's what
your
it
kids
should
can
be.
still
You
turn
should
out gay
like
though.
parents should be the most
Your kids
important
can still come
opinion.
up.
I'm
Yeah, after
It should
18,
be,
yeah, when
but
you get out
you're
my house,
attracted to who
yeah.
you're attracted to.
While
And
they're
I
in
agree
my
with that. And
home,
all they're gonna do is suppress it, until they
yeah,
get
they can suppress
18.
it to yeah.
But
I told my
I
kids
I
mean,
think
I'm
the
when
kind
way
I
of
the
come
way
pro.
look, the
out,
way
come
these
out
kids
when I'm
is
gay.
now, they don't suppress nothing. They are their own kings and queens.
Now my
They've been
children are
told.
very
That's
open.
exactly what we told them. We told them they were their own person and they
And
could
my
be
children are
whatever the
very
fuck they
expressive.
wanted to, and they believed it. They believed it
I got
Right.
you,
wholeheartedly. They walk
Brian.
around talking about
It's
I identify with bananas and shit, and it's crazy because we used to be in a culture. See, our culture has changed so much. We used to be in a culture where it was like you be like Jesus, and this is the set rule, and you can like vary from that a little bit. So you have to it depends on the household. Do you want your daughter or son being in submission to what's written on a piece of paper by a bunch of people who enslaved us, or do you want them to try to dig and try to find another path? Honestly, I don't know, because like the disillusion of God I think is upon everyone. I think there are a lot of people at a certain age who don't have like 100% complete commitment to faith or God, and then we ask why we
I
don't have a
don't. I
commitment
ain't
to
gonna lie.
each
I don't
other.
believe in none of it.
I mean, I do. I don't see a lot of black people that are just like even speaking God's name like that. I don't go to church, and when I did, I went to
I
Kingdom
don't.
Hall. That was
I
a
don't
big city.
know.
I mean, and that's like the church has
I'm
been
an atheist.
destroyed. The structure has been destroyed. It's all different. I don't think it's anybody's fault, any one person's fault. There are people behind the scenes that are working to destroy us so they can continue to use us. White people were slaves too. They had them believing, oh yeah, come over here and get in this neighborhood and you can just stay away from the black people. And then they took the black people and said, hey, you can move over here, and then say, oh, now your property value's down, so you're gonna have to sell this house for cheaper and go and move somewhere else. And they moved those black people, trying to make us like we're the enemy. And they've been doing that. I think everything that's happening now has been happening. We just have exposure, and we have a chance to do something about it. So like, let's make it a positive change. But the problem is, none of us can agree on what's a positive change, because we've just been living for what we've been told to live for so long. I think women. Yeah, I do think there's a problem with women not depending on men. I do think there's a problem in women not recognizing the strength that men provide. But I also think that there's a problem with what we define ourselves as women and men in general. And I don't think we really have a super strong sense in that. I see like Brian, I see Tony, I see Joe, I see three men who at least have a really great grasp and idea on what kind of man that they are and they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Period. They have an idea of what their household wants to be, and they want to stand firm on that. That is something that's respectable. I think when my father came into the picture, he stayed because that was what they were supposed to do. And there was times when he looked at me in my face and he said that he almost left. And like, hearing that as a child.
So let me
wonder.
So let me ask you this. So when it comes to the whole thing about what you just said about the homosexuality and all this other stuff, your kid picking what they want, they suppress it and all this other stuff. My question to you guys would be this. um, when it comes to being born, this is the question that I have for everybody. Because one time I had this discussion with some people, and they didn't like it. And so when it comes to the homosexuality thing, I used to be the biggest homophobe ever. I hated them. Don't come sit by me. Don't talk to me. I will bust your face open. You know what I'm saying? We don't have nothing to talk about. Nothing. Right? And then as I grew older, you know why I was like that though? Toxic parenting. Right? Because I remember back in the day. I mean, they're no longer like that now, but back in the day, I remember my mama. Don't be around them damn sisters. Don't be around them. You gonna turn out like you gonna put a damn dress on. You ready? My daddy, better go get you some pussy, boy. You know, and so that's what we grew up listening to. And so, but as I grew older and matured on my own and got out on my own and started realizing, hey, these are people. These are not the devil. These are not demons. You know, even like Lance, we worked together. Lance would come to work and put a comforter over his fucking head and walk around the damn
Kings of
walk around the damn office. Yeah, he'll walk around the damn office with a damn bun on top of his head all day. I'll be laughing my ass off. But you know, so I learned that. But when it comes to being born gay, a lot of people disagree with it. But my question is this: for those who believe in Christianity, or God, my thing is this: how is it that a person can be born with one arm, 3 fingers, blind, deaf, Down syndrome, brain disease, paraplegic, but they can't have anything wrong with their DNA system? They can't have anything that makes them attracted to the same sex.
Exactly.
That's confusing to me.
I believe that a person can be born gay, and I've had a person that is gay say to me, "Why would I choose this lifestyle? Why would I choose this lifestyle for myself? Why would I? It's a lot better now than it ever has been. Because 20 years ago, being gay wasn't cool.
Yeah, it was considered a mental illness.
Yeah, this person had been around, 15 years or so, probably almost 20 years or so, when they, came out as gay, and they said, why would I choose this lifestyle for myself? Why would I choose for my mom not to be proud of me? Why would I choose for my family to hate me? Why would I choose not to be accepted by society? Like, who would choose to live like this? And so I say, I feel like a person is born. It doesn't matter. I've seen dudes, the most masculineness of dudes, every day. They had a father in the home. They had all of that. Masculine, play basketball, and do all of that. I think sometimes people get sexuality confused with like gender. You can have your dad around. You can have all type of men around. They could never have been exposed to homosexuality at all. You are attracted what you're attracted to.
So let me say this. I was at OCBF one time. For people that don't live in Dallas, it's Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship Church. And I was sitting there one time, and they had this open dialogue for Bible study. And this lady stood up. They were speaking about homosexuality, and the church is completely against it. And so the lady stood up, and she read something to the church. She said her name. She said, I am attracted to women. I feel like I am a lesbian. I feel like I'm gay. She said, however, I also am a Christian woman. And she said, since I'm a Christian and I love God more than I love myself, I'm going to follow everything that the Bible says. And she says, if I never get an opportunity to love, to touch, to cuddle, to marry, she said, that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make for God. But I would never feed into my hunger for another woman.
It's sad.
What does the Bible say about homosexuality? I guess it's another topic because homosexuality wasn't even mentioned in the Bible until a certain period of time. They had to create that word. God didn't even speak that word, and neither did Jesus. But I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. Anyway. It wasn't in the New Testament. It was in the Old Testament, where in Leviticus, where it says, "No man should lay with other man as if he is his wife." Right. Well, hold on. Now, watch this. No. I'm not.
If you're speaking in a literal sense, yes, that means a man shall lay with another man. If you're speaking in an ethereal sense, that could also mean a man should not trust a man above God, as in mankind, as in any being, your wife, your husband, your kids. Nobody comes before God. So, depending on how you take it and how much hate in your heart, that's a general statement, or it's a specificity in which is only mentioned once.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I think God harped more on men sleeping outside of their marriage disrespecting their wives,
Yeah, absolutely.
creating
Yeah.
a bad household,
Mhm.
being bad to your neighbor. I remember him talking a lot
Yeah.
in length about that. But
Yeah.
sexuality, as they say, is only mentioned
Right.
once.
And he said this, and let me break this down. He said in Leviticus, he also says in Leviticus that homosexuality is an abomination. Now watch this, let me finish. Also in Leviticus, if you go down a few more verses, not hate that I know it, but I'm just very familiar with the scripture. I can see it right now in front of my face. And if you go down a couple of more scriptures, it says in Leviticus, it says these words, that is an abomination for a man to eat something from the bottom of a river or a lake, consume fish that live, that's shrimp, catfish, right? That is also an abomination to God to mix linen. So you can't mix linen. So if this shirt is 10% polyester and 90% cotton, I'm an abomination to God, right? So I had the conversation with some people at my church. And again, you know me, Lance, I stand 10 toes down. I don't give a damn who agree with me or not. You know that. And so by working with me and dealing with them fools up there. But I said to them, I said, how can you get mad and say these gay people are not important, but you motherfuckers selling fish plates Sunday? Now, I have a problem with you motherfuckers selling catfish plates on Sunday. And it says it's an abomination, but you say these gay people can't come in here. But see, that's the thing. They only use gay people because gay people when gay people are good for business, they don't have nothing to say. When the gay person up there leading the choir, playing the piano, that nigga can play. Well, he can sing his ass off. But as soon as they come down, girl, I've seen gay people tear a church to pieces. I've seen a gay person come in church and sing and have niggas laid out, stretched out, and I'm thinking to myself, but then my question was to them, if you took and this is going to make everybody fall out right here. I hope you're sitting down. If you took the music, listen, don't sing any music that was made by a gay artist or producer in gospel. Sing only the music that were made by straight men. You'll be in the fucking hymn books. Because look, you got Donald Lawrence. You got
Did you see that episode of Iyanla? And it was like 3 or 4 pastors, and they were actually gay. 2 of them had wives. I remember one of them specifically had a wife and 5 kids.
And had to go tell the congregation and his wife.
Into the church, and the way this man was crying crocodile tears, you can just tell that it was like so freeing to him. I couldn't even imagine, that's like living in a prison, living a life that is not the life that you want, but you live in it because that's what's acceptable to your family, or because that's what's acceptable.
I know a dude right now, Megan, that's going through the same thing. Young cat, he's not even 40. And right now he can write music. He got albums. I know him personally. I know him. Everybody knows him. Everybody knows he's gay. This man got a whole wife, then forced himself to get her pregnant. And he's sitting up in church, and he wants to sit by the men that are just like him, and he's close to them, and he's taking trips with them. I know he's cheating on his wife with these dudes. He's gay. Why not? Why ruin this woman's life? You doing that because your daddy's a preacher, and his daddy's like, no, we don't do that. Just like Tone. Everybody know who Tone is. Lord, make me over. Tone said the same thing. Tone said, my daddy was against me, but Tone made a song. Tone said, I can't believe the church turned its back. These are the lyrics. I can't believe the church turned its back on me when I came out. But my dad and my mama didn't say nothing when I was a kid and the preachers was turning me out.
Wow.
And he said his mom and dad knew that those pastors were fucking him. They knew he was being molested by these other preachers, and they said nothing. And half the molestation that go on comes from church people. Yeah. Let's just be real. Those preachers, come on in here, son. Let me holler at you for a minute.
Well, it's been in the news for how long about the Catholic priests? Not to single out any specific religion, but it's been in the news.
Yeah, and Dave Chappelle brought it up.
They celibate, but they, having sex with the little boys.
Have y'all watched The Closer with Dave Chappelle? His last stand-up comedy for Netflix?
No, I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it.
Yeah, he said the same thing in his comedy. He said, when I was a kid, and he made a joke about it, being molested. He said, when I was a kid, the preacher used to come get me and come play with my dick and everything. And he said, shit, I used to enjoy it, though. And everybody was like, what? Everybody's laughing and about to fall out. He said, hell yeah, shit. He ain't put no dick in me. He just wanted me to skeet in his face. And that's all I had to do. Like, he made a joke about it. Like, he was actually molested.
And I think if a lot of black men were really, really, really honest, that happens a lot. It happens a lot.
Well, it didn't happen to me with no man. It happened to me with that 48-year-old woman.
I mean, same impact. It's not to say that every man that's been molested by another man ends up being gay, but every person that's been touched or taken advantage of, it has had an impact. And I feel like it causes an extremity in how you feel towards certain views. You see these white kids all around. None of these white boys care about being gay. They be slapping each other on the ass, kissing and stuff. They don't give a fuck. And I think that's because the exposure, they're desensitized to it. I think in black culture we have this machoism or machismo that we're supposed to have as men, and women are supposed to have this femininity, but in actuality we don't really accept that in each other, and we don't really have that in each other. Like that, it's not as extreme as TV tries to make it seem like. Like in actuality, most of the stuff that they say we have a problem with, or they say is a problem for us, isn't. We just make it a problem. Ain't nothing wrong with a loud ass woman. I mean, she just loud. We know a lot of women.
Yes, it is, man. It is something wrong with a loud ass woman. It's something wrong with a loud ass woman. I disagree with that.
There's something wrong with a disrespectful woman. Notice the difference. Just because you have a tone doesn't mean you have an intent. You have to look at the intent of a person. Just because somebody's loud, that doesn't mean that they're bad. Just because they're ghetto. I know some of the ghettoest motherfucking dudes and women I know are some of the most helpful, most encouraging, most God-fearing people. They just happen to grow up in the hood.
Yeah, it was.
Happen to not know.
Lance, I gotta push
other shit.
I gotta push back because you said it's an intent. But my thing is, my intention is not to go to jail. But if I go get up in a police officer's face and scream and holler in his face, I'm probably gonna get my ass beat up and locked up in jail. Now, my intent was not to go to jail, but I got my ass locked up in jail. But hold on.
That's what from police. That's what they
do.
Right.
But I'm gonna say this is the last question I have for everybody. Is the system an ally to toxic black women? I'll go with you first. I'll go with you first, Tony.
All right, I say yes. Hold on one second.
Oh, sorry. Sure will.
Yeah, I say yes. The reason why I say yes is because I feel like a lot of women, especially when they mad, hurt, whatever you want to call it, they know exactly what they can do to get a man down to his lowest point, or to get him, to put him in a bad situation. It's been situations that I've heard of women going to go file child support on guys just because he done got another girlfriend or something, or because they found out he's getting married and now they finna go file child support on him out of spite, and then ask for back child support, and then the judge granted to him, and the guy could have been taking care of his children the whole time, but because of the fact that she's mad. So yeah, definitely toxic women and the system, they go hand in hand, because a toxic woman will do anything in her power to tear a man down. I'm talking about, and what's the worst way to tear somebody down is to hit them in their pocket, and they will knock you over your head.
Now let me add to it. Now let me add to what you just said. The most dangerous place to have children is Texas. And the reason for that is, if she leaves right now, if my wife come to me and say, "Hey, baby, yeah, we're not together, I'm gonna put you on child support." What will happen is, my son and my daughter's 11. What would happen is they would retro back 11 years on my twins, and they would give her 11 years back pay. That immediately puts me in debt. Immediately puts me in the rears. Immediately, 11 years. It's like you get a prison sentence for something you did when you were a kid. 11. But anyway, moving on. Sierra, you'll go, baby. Go ahead. I mean, do you
hold
think
on, I
that?
ain't finished. I ain't finished
Oh,
because
go ahead.
women
Go ahead.
know women know that. Women know that. I mean, and this is what's really sad about it. The girl can be a millionaire. You can have a job at McDonald's in Texas. She can go down there and file child support, and they will give her child support. They will be taking child support out of your McDonald's check, giving it to this millionaire woman. Man, it's sad. And like I said, women know this. Listen, I ain't gonna lie, but y'all can tell I've been through some things before. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And-
So
and- so Sierra, go ahead, Sierra.
Ask that question again.
I said, is the system an ally for toxic black women?
I say the system, I wouldn't say toxic black women. The system make it easier for any woman, to be honest. I mean, I wish you would stop calling us toxic, but I mean, the system,
Not all, but some.
I mean, like he said about the child support, yes. You could go down to the courthouse, get mad, and go put them on child support. I mean, I know grandmothers who have put their daughters on child support because they're taking care of their grandchildren. I know fathers who actually get child support too
Now,
because
whoa. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Joe, don't
I'm
forget that I am the social worker here. So I know men who are
That
actually
part.
getting child support from women.
Oh, no. Hey,
Thank you.
I'm talking about from my own experience. I'm not talking about the guys that I know you in the system, you see this. I'm talking about my own experience. Like my experience is I got custody of my kids, right? They put her on child support. And I have got custody of my kids when they were 7 and 6. They're 14 and 13 now, and I've never received a penny. And they haven't found it. Now let that be me. The system is biased. If that were me, oh, I'd be under the jail. I got a
Because she
felony. I can't
understood.
get no.
Because you want to know why? Because she would have made it her attempt for them to find you. You're not doing that. You're just letting it be. Now, if she would just let it be, like a woman who went and got child support and she don't have it, if they can't find you, they're not gonna look for you. Trust me, unless you
Shit.
go to jail.
It used to be a
But
joke back
that
in the day. If you want to find Osama bin
woman
Laden,
will
send the
come
child
down
support
here and
people.
they'll say, "Oh well, I heard
Good
he
man.
working here. Oh, I heard he lives here. Oh, I heard he lives." You're not doing that. So no, you won't receive a penny. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You will
Sierra,
not.
did you hear me? Did you hear me, Sierra?
What
I
you
said there used to be a joke back in the day. If you want to find Osama bin Laden, send the child support people. Them
say?
motherfuckers gonna find you, man. Especially if you a dude, they're gonna find your ass, bro. They're gonna find you. They found my ass.
That
I'm in
must have been what
Texas.
Osama did. Or that must have been what Obama did. Shit.
To specifically come in there and say, "Oh, I heard he work here. Go find him here. Oh, I heard he stay over here. Go find him
That's
there."
true. That's
Yeah,
a
they
woman.
gonna come look for you. They're gonna come
Yeah,
look for you. I don't care where, but they're gonna come look for you.
my
But
lord.
you're not doing that, Joe. You're raising your kids the way you're not worrying about that money from her.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
If
But
you
she
really
got,
were,
but she got a goddamn responsibility.
if you
I
just
bet you
want
that.
you,
Yeah.
I
Hell,
don't.
but
y'all hold me up. See, black. Go ahead. Go. What's that, Tony?
but hold on, I can tell you now. Like when I switched jobs, I didn't call them and tell them I switched jobs. Shoot, I got my first check. I got the whole check. That second check,
Boop boop.
it was gone. She didn't even know I switched jobs. So like they man, automatically they got me.
So, what do you
They
think, Brian?
What was the question again?
The question is the system an ally to toxic black women?
Now, yes. It just depends, man. You know, my personal opinion is this: there's a segment of women that get this stuff, and some of them are not toxic. Sometimes you gotta look at it, the reason why dudes are not taking care of their kids. Like we can't forget about that. And the
Hmm.
toxic women go there to put the man on child. So there are toxic women that have a point of putting a man on child support because the man she has is not taking care of the child. It is what it is. You know, like so. Yeah, so she could be an asshole. She was abused as a kid, so she's toxic, right? So she got pregnant. The man still not taking care of that baby. That woman still needs some help. So we can't keep beating on a toxic woman without what is the man trying to do something? Like what's the backstory? We don't know the backstory, but we keep beating on the toxic woman. Yeah, she toxic. She using this against a man. Is the guy a good guy? Or what? Is the nigga taking care of the little nigga baby or
Right.
what? You know, we gotta
But
Well, let me
see,
know.
get.
that's what Joe will come in and say, oh, well, you the woman, you control sex. Oh, you should keep your legs closed.
You've been
And
listening,
I know
girl.
that's what he was
You've been
about to
Let me
say.
listening.
say, can I say something? Can I say
That's
something on
so,
this?
that's
I
so
got you,
You've been
Sierra.
ridiculous.
listening.
Sierra, I got you on this. I got you on this. Guys say, yeah, women can control their body. They got what birth control. Y'all get the shower. Y'all can get y'all tubes tied, whatever. Forget all that. Men need to learn how to control their sperm. That's the
Exactly.
problem. See, I don't know why men blame on women. Cause you stick your penis up in there and you ejaculate. You know what can happen to a woman when you nut up in her. You gotta be a man. You gotta have self-discipline, put a rub on.
Facts.
That's just facts. We
Yeah,
can't.
but
It's gotta be self.
I
It's gotta be
Hold on. Let me
self
say this.
discipline on
Facts.
both sides,
Hold
man.
on.
It's gotta be self discipline on both sides.
Oh, I'm
Facts.
disciplined, bro.
but I think
Cause you
what
know why? You know why I'm disciplined like that? Cause brothers like Tony, that gotta pay child support. Even with me, I had to pay child support, even though I got custody of my children. So why would I continue to make the same mistakes? Why I'm gonna keep running to a brick wall and keep blaming the woman? Oh, you could have been on birth control, or I thought you were man. No, it's on me. I gotta control my penis,
Facts.
bro. I teach
And
my son, your sperm is
but
money.
no,
Your sperm is worth more than the woman you fucking.
Right.
Your dick is important. Your sperm is important. Forget what the I don't allow my son to listen to men complain about what a woman supposed to protect him from. You supposed to protect yourself from that woman, bro. That's what's wrong with men. We keep blaming women. I don't blame women for nothing, bro. Nothing. I had sex with a lot of women. If I got a
Preaching
woman pregnant, if you
today.
put me on child support in Texas, that's my fault. Can't blame that woman. That's just me. I
Oh,
probably sound like
that's
a
that's
simp.
self talk there,
At the
doc.
end of the day, it's
That's
on
self
me.
talk.
No, Brian, you
no,
preaching today.
but hold
You
on,
preaching
You
today,
can say
boy. You
simp talk all
preaching.
you want, but one thing
You
about
preaching
me, I ain't
today.
gonna blame a woman for my mistakes. So you just said hold yourself accountable. You gotta hold yourself
Right,
accountable. It
right.
goes with
accountability,
whether the woman
exactly.
pimping.
Well,
But
Brian preaching
but
today.
my thing
hold
is
on,
this, Brian.
Yeah,
You know what, Brian? Go ahead, Tony. Go
it
ahead.
gotta be in you,
but
not
I
on
think
you,
this is what
buddy.
Dwayne is saying.
Brian
But
preaching today.
but this is what Dwayne is saying. Yeah, if you sit up there and blatantly nut inside of a woman, that's 100% on you. But if that woman sit up there, if you
Fact.
trying to fuck this woman and that woman sit up there and say no, I'm not gonna give you none, then that's why he say women control the sex. Because a woman can tell you yes or no whether or not you can fuck or not. If she say no, it's not gonna happen. If
even
she
if
say
you're
yeah,
telling her everything she wants to hear,
Oh,
but
everything.
that's her problem. That's her
but
problem.
if
She got
but
self
No,
if
it's a
control.
problem.
She ain't
but
no
And it's
fucking
also
lady.
no self-discipline. Self-discipline in your speech as well. Have
Accountability.
respect for what you're saying to a fellow person.
I'm a
Okay,
bad
you just say
motherfucker. Then I could
anything just
just.
so you can get up in the
I'm
gut.
Zeus. I'm
Okay,
Zeus.
you're no, and I want to say this. You are completely right. It has been a woman's responsibility, shamed into them forever to control sex, to control their inhibitions, to control the very natural desire that they have. And you continue that rhetoric by telling them that it's their fault that they're fertile, that they're doing their
no.
natural God-given
No, hold
ability.
on now.
No,
Hold on
no,
now.
no, no, no.
That's
But
not well. No.
this is what I'm saying. If you take your stupid ass up there and you nut inside that woman, that's 100% on you. That's 100 because even though she tell you yeah, you still gotta be smarter and not just be sitting up there just shooting up every
Right.
club that you go to. You can't do that. But I'm saying that's why I agree with Dwayne. It is the woman does control the because if she say no, it's not happening. If my wife right now, if I want to go fuck my wife right now, and my wife said no, I don't want to fuck her. If I forcibly have sex with her, she can go say that I raped her, even though we're married, and I go to jail for
Oh
that.
yeah. You got
So
jail.
the
You got
woman
And
jail.
that's
controls the
weird.
sex.
You got jail.
But what
That
they
is
got to
weird.
do with babies, though?
I will
I
go
got
to
lost.
jail.
But what
No,
they got to do with babies,
but
though?
that's what I'm
We ain't talking
saying. You
about
can't.
songs on the one for
But
some
no,
pussy.
that was the first thing I said. If you take
Nah.
your stupid ass up there and shoot up the place, that's on you.
Yeah,
So
That's
that so
100% your fault.
men need to be
it,
accountable
Hold
too.
on, hold on. But you know what? You
yeah,
know what
you
though?
gotta hold
Y'all
yourself
preaching today.
accountable.
You know what? I'm finna get a hammer and bust
Yourself
this bitch
accountable.
in. I'm finna get a hammer and bust this conversation in the fucking head. Watch this. It is if Megan gets pregnant today, if Sierra gets pregnant today, Sierra can say, you know what? I don't think I'm ready to have a child. I don't want another one. So I'm going to drive wherever I have to go, and I'm going to sit down in a room, and I'm going to speak to the doctor, and I'm going to tell the doctor, I don't want to be a mom, and I want to have an abortion. It's my
No
body.
matter what I say.
Right. No matter what he says, my body, my choice. If the baby by me, I say, Sierra, I don't want you to get no abortion. I want my kid. Don't have no abortion. Sierra says, my body, my choice. You can't make me have a baby. Okay, Sierra, that's fine. Now let's reverse the roles. I don't want the baby, but Sierra wants to keep it. Why do I have to continue to? Why don't I have rights to say I'm not ready for to be a fucking father?
You had a right to
Why
not
does she make the choice?
I got this.
What she makes the choice for me? What if she makes the choice for? She's making the choice for me and for her. But when it comes to her, child, she gonna get there. You see, it's a double fucking standard.
It is.
It should be a law. It should be a law. If a man don't want the child, who should be saying, I'm gonna walk away. I don't want it. Just like she can walk away from it.
Hold on. We just had a conversation earlier about how men are treated differently from women. It just is what it is. Just some shit you just gotta accept, bro.
But see,
we got benefits too.
Facts.
Isn't fair? It is what it is. This shit been going on since the dawn of time, bro. Women have better.
It's the same way you said that. A man could say he don't want that baby and pick up and leave. Yeah, he pay child support, but he don't have to take care of
And there's nothing with a baby that she cannot want.
like he ain't got no kids.
Females been trapped. Listen.
Choices, brother.
Listen, females been trapping niggas forever. But watch this. So the episode of Wendy Williams, I talked to.
Stupid niggas.
Hold on, but watch this. I'm gonna tell you about an educated nigga that wasn't stupid. So Wendy Williams got this show before she collapsed. I'm so glad she did.
Stupid to women.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Watch this. Wendy. I'm so glad I hope she retired. I'm sick of her. She built like a coach's whistle.
Joe, just go with the question.
But anyway, dude, when I tell you I cannot stand that woman, bro, I cannot stand that woman. But anyway, so the lady in the audience, she stood up. She said, I have a question, Wendy. Wendy said, go ahead. How you doing? That stupid shit. She said, me and my husband got married. I wanted 2 children. I've had one. My husband says right now, we don't need a second child. But he promised me 2 when we got married. She said, Wendy, my friends have been telling me to get off birth control.
First problem.
Get off birth control and trap him and get pregnant anyway for my second child that I want. She said, Wendy, what do you think I should do? Wendy said, let me poll the audience. Ladies, the lady said, trap him. Wendy said, I'm not going to tell you what to do. She said, however, look in my eyes and you'll get your answer. Right when the music came on to go to commercial, she says, your body, your choice. Do what you want to do with your body. Now, ain't that some fucked up shit to have your wife betray you and trap you into a second child when I just told you I don't want one?
You know what's fucked up is the fact that she involved her friends in a national TV syndicated TV show and nobody said anything about God. There are some things that you do not discuss outside of the home. It allows the venom to seep in and break down, which causes toxicity and a generational breakdown. That's the problem.
But she calls it toxicity, though.
It doesn't matter. There are toxic people out there. That's why you do not go outside of your relationship. You're with this person because you're supposed to trust this person to help make difficult decisions like that. If you don't like the decisions that you and your partner are making, get a fucking divorce. You don't sit up there and poll the fucking audience. This is the same shit they do at church. And that's the reason nobody goes.
Hey, what you want to say,
That's not none of our business. It's not. That's between them and God. That's what they do. They sit up there and they stood in front of a whole bunch of people and said, hey, from now on, we're going to have our discussions with the Lord. And we're going to try to be an example.
Yeah.
And people used to take pride in being the example of being a good relationship. They used to be part of the motivation, to be celebrated, to have this partnership together. Just like if Black people had a business, it used to be celebrated, but marriages aren't celebrated anymore. Partnerships and commitment isn't celebrated anymore.
You're absolutely correct.
Success and degrees aren't celebrated anymore.
So
we as a Black people just are down on each other, and I don't even understand why. Like,
now,
we're the best.
I want to address what Sierra said. Sierra said you're in control of your sperm, but Sierra, if me and you are married, and I discuss with you as my wife, we need one kid. We're not going to have another one. And I come home and I have sex with you, and you just stop taking your pills. Your homegirls and told you stop taking your pills. You have trapped me. You have trapped. I'm trusting the fact that you are taking that birth control every day, and you stop taking them so you can get a second baby. And I told you I didn't want it.
You didn't want to get a vasectomy.
Oh no!
Hey, but look at it like this though.
Wow.
Go ahead, Brian.
Wow.
Anybody. Heck, to have another kid.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
well, if a woman tried me, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, bro. No, what you about to say, bro?
No, go ahead. You got.
Oh, I'm different from most people, okay, y'all. I'm really being tamed, but I will say this, and this is true. If a woman done that to me, yes, I'll be hurt. Yes, I'll be like, damn. But guess what? That lets me know that I don't need to be with her no more, and you wasn't for me. I'm a different type of nigga. I wouldn't be in that child life. I would not be in that child life of her life. She's gonna have to deal with that. All of them, the one that I wanted and the one I didn't want. I'll be a deadbeat, but I'll pay. I can't deal with that. I'm this real talk. This real talk. I believe in my sanity, happiness. I can't be with a woman like that. So if a woman did that for me, that lets me know what type of woman I've been with all my life. Not just because she entrapped me with a baby. What other things you have done sneaky that I didn't agree with?
She broke your trust.
So it's just not really about. It's bigger than that. So let me get you out my way. Let me be a deadbeat. Fuck them kids. Live your life. I'ma still pay. I don't gotta be in them kids' life. And that's facts. See, that's why I'm saying, man. That's why I say I was raised a little different than most people. I respect my brother that invited me on. That's why I'm being kind of tamed a little bit.
Don't tame. I told you say what you want to say. Bro.
No. I will not, because
I agree with that. I agree with that, and I think if a lot of Black men led like that, if they just instill and strong in themselves.
They ain't on the level I talk on, man. So I can't use the B word, the H words, and all that stuff like that. But,
right.
And it's a man with a wife here, so I don't want to disrespect his wife speaking like that.
Okay, so Megan,
it's hard though, man. Be about to slip out, man.
I know it. And so Megan, I watch your platform too, but Megan, is the system an ally to toxic Black women?
That's kind of difficult to me because I have you might have to mute your thing, Tony. I have a friend right now, and Tony knows her. Her son is 16. Just never filed child support on the dad. Always tried to give the dad, allow him to be in the son's life. Allow him to do what he needed to do. Well, I'm saying no. And when I say allow, when I say she tried to do the co-parenting thing, she tried to make it work. But when I tell you this man don't do nothing, and
but some people need child support,
and that's my thing. So I feel like
but she chose him.
Consistent. Well, but Dwayne, who knows? Of course, when you're about to have a baby and they were together, then she had her son in love, and it just didn't work out, and he decided that he wasn't going to take care of his son. But I mean, she tried to advocate for this man, and she's always said that she didn't want to be part of that statistic. But I mean, he does nothing, and he needs to be put on child support. So I do feel like in some situations it's needed. Are there some women that are toxic and the only reason they doing that to the man because they trying to get back at him? Yeah. Can it be used for bad? But I think that's as with anything. It can either be used for good or for bad. I think in some situations it is necessary. Because I feel for my friend, that's terrible. She did not make that child by herself, and she has to foot the bill of everything.
Megan.
But hold on, let me add to that because I honestly, just from knowing her and just hearing about the situation, I believe this is one of them situations where she probably was head over heels for this dude, and so she felt like if she was the guy, if she would get pregnant from him, that was gonna make him stay. And I honestly feel like he just enjoyed having sex with her. Not now that doesn't make an excuse for him shooting up the club because he was stupid for that. But the thing about it is, this girl right here. I know this dude probably was never attracted to her. He was just attracted to the fact that she was a freak. Point blank, period. And he probably still smashing her to this day. And I feel like that's the only reason why she haven't filed child support. Because she's still in love with that dude and she's still hoping that he gonna come around and still hoping that he gonna be with him and she's still throwing that thing from the free throw line at him. So I honestly think that's the situation. Because this my thing.
Don't try to read my prayer like that.
Because this my thing. Because the girl
Please, Tony.
is not, bro. She's not cute or nothing like that or whatever. I went to her house the other day. This girl raised up her arms to lift something up, bro. It looked like she had two men with afros in a headlock or something. I'm like, damn, that's so unattractive. Like shave under your arms or
So I
something.
saw that's probably why he left. And she a shadow chick.
Yeah. I think so.
I don't.
But even still,
Y'all,
with that being said, like some people deserve to have child support. And he
because you've even said that yourself that he deserves it.
He deserves it.
It's really unfair.
It is. He deserves it 100%. But what we talking about is for the people, for the women that goes out there because they mad because the dude done got another girlfriend or something like that and filing child support and asking for back pay when they really don't deserve it. When the dude was doing everything that he should have been doing. That's what we talking about. In that case, no, he deserves it.
Well, and that's why my answer was that it can be as with anything else. It can be good. There are some aspects of it that are good, and sometimes it's necessary. That's a necessary avenue that some women have to go down. Can it be used for bad and spiteful women that want to see you down and I got something for that? Yeah, yes, but I think it's two sides of it.
So Megan, it's reading rainbow time. Let me tell you something. Your sister, told me this story, and I told her if she don't get out of my face, I may have to go to jail for a little bit. Let me tell you what happened. Your sister told me. She said, Dwayne, there's this girl that I work with. She has a little girl. The little girl's 10. I said, okay, what happened? She said, the girl that I work with, her and her baby daddy, they've been sharing custody for a long time. And he take the girl with him. He spent time with her, everything. The girl on her 11th birthday, the man came to her birthday party. The daddy came to the birthday party at the mama's house. He brought his girlfriend with him. After the party, that following week, he lost his mom. His mom passed away of breast cancer. Several weeks passed. He goes to the funeral. The baby mama comes to the funeral, also the 11-year-old girl. After the funeral was over, about a month and a half later, he got papers in the mail demanding child support because he had moved on with someone else. They retro back 11 years and they took his mom's life insurance policy to make up for the 11 years only because she was upset. She took that very money, right? She took that money, right? 11 years. I think they said the child support for him because he has a really nice job. So I think the child support was $1,000 a month or something like that. So can you imagine 11 years in the rear, $1,000 a month, retro back 11 years?
126,000.
They took his mother's entire life insurance policy.
But you want to know something, Joe? And
hold on. Watch this. Guess what she did with the money?
She bought a house.
She bought a fucking house, and now she done moved her boyfriend in, and they got married. And the man living in the house that was bought from this man's dead mama's life insurance policy. If it were me, they both be stanky. Ain't no way you gonna take my mama dead. Now you can take from me, but you ain't gonna take my mama life insurance policy that she done paid for and struggled paying for years, and take that money and take care of you and a new nigga. That's just not gonna work for me. And that's it. And then your sister gonna add up and say the dude don't even work. He said he gonna invest some of the money. So now he got access to the account. So, go ahead, somebody. Go ahead.
I mean,
but he knew what type of chick he had, though. He knew what type of chick he had.
Yeah, like you would tell us, Joe. You would like
before
if
he
we
even
would have
got
said something like that as a female. You would have said, "You know who you chose. You know who you know who you slept with."
I swear.
When you first meet her, this ain't just come up because he saw a woman.
I don't know.
What type?
I think there are some things like decently.
So, but you feel for that black man.
Hold on, no, yeah. She was okay. No, he was okay as long as he was single and miserable.
Girl,
but soon as she seen that chick at the birthday party, shit changed.
I have seen that. I have seen that many times.
I'm talking about her.
I've seen that happen too. But I mean,
we live a situation like
Joe,
that.
You feel for that black man, but if a woman would have come up with that story or whatever, you would have said, "Oh, you know who you slept with.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who he was. Oh, you keep your legs closed."
Ain't no man finna do no whole shit like that, bro.
You know
stop. Oh,
do no whole shit like that, bro.
Stop.
But
there's a bunch of men that do whole shit. And I'm serious about that. You upset a man. I've seen how men fight. Men fight and men do whole shit.
I'm not going to take.
If you try to break a man down, he will try to break you down too.
No, women break niggas down way worse. Way worse.
That's fact. That's fact.
No.
They do.
No.
Yeah.
The women break men down way worse.
Yeah, women do kick our ass now.
Yeah, women
we can.
It's because we're better at it. It's because we're better at it. I mean, we are better at it.
That ain't shit to be happy about.
Y'all don't try. That don't mean that y'all
don't shit to be happy about. That ain't shit to be happy about.
That y'all don't try.
Look how you sound. We better at fucking over niggas.
True facts. That's just
they're better at a lot of things. That is true, but yeah,
women are just better detectives. It's just all in our framework. That's just like with a man cheating. We're better detectives. Like some things we're just better at. We have those skills. That don't mean that men don't do whole shit too and don't try to break women down.
I think when it comes to that story,
I've seen it's a man that are some hoes and that do some whole shit.
And guess what?
But when it comes to something like that, that's a character thing. Like that, like you really have to be a special type of evil,
right?
To do something.
To take like something from dead mother.
All because you know. And I don't even understand that. I've seen women do that too, where they get upset and then they like put somebody on child support. But then you got a whole boyfriend, and it's like your whole energy. But even in that, you have to realize, like, first of all, how important that they're seeing this black man as. So you can't ever say that they're not important to them. But two, like the fact that their focus and energy is like. You say that marriage and being with a dude's not important. This is how it looks when being with a dude is so important, but you're also a toxic person. This is the combo of that. So like I don't think you can ever say that a woman doesn't have a desire to be with a black man. It's just the mythology behind it, and like the shit that they do. Sometimes some women. The shit that they will do and the lengths they will go into this fantasy ending that, oh, he's gonna be with me if I have this baby, or if I deplete his finances, or if I'm constantly following him for some, I don't know where they get that in their head.
Well, because it's not about it's not about the act. For some of these women, it's not even about the money. It's about the fact that I'm gonna break this man down. He don't want to be with me. He gonna go be with that bitch, and they gonna have a happy life and have these kids and 2 cars and a big nice house with a white picket fence. Hell no, that's what it's about. It ain't even about the money. It ain't even about the act. It's about breaking that man down. That's what it's about.
Megan, I went to my first wife, my ex-wife, and I told her, I said, listen, that's when I was a simp. I was a simp. I was a simp. But I went to her and I said, you know what I'm going to do? For our 2 children, they're living with you, no problem. I'm gonna be living in Texas. I'll come see them when I can. I say, I want you to give me all your bills. Give me a copy of everything you pay: cable, car note, insurance, house, anything that you pay that my kids are involved in. She said, okay. She gave me all the bills. I paid 50% of them, right? I paid half, and I paid 100% of my own fucking bills, 50% of hers. So I'm 150% invested in myself and her. Come on now. So I pay her half of her bills. She calls me and says, I need gas money. I ran out of the money that you sent me. I said, damn, I sent it to you 72 hours ago. What the fuck are you doing? So I used to send her gas money. Oh, I'm gonna run out. I sent her. I had a little debit card.
You didn't pay her bills. You gave her money.
Yeah, no, I paid her bills. I actually paid. I put the. Yeah, you're right. I gave her the money to pay the bills, right? So then this is what she did. I'm paying half her bills. I'm up there, and her mama them, girl, don't let him get off that easy. Take his ass to child support and stick him. They sent me that. They sent me that letter to me. I said, "What the fuck is going on here?" I'm paying half her bills, giving her gas money. What else? I'm like Tyrese. What else do you want from me? So I go to court. I go to the judge. He said, "You're from the state of Texas." I said, "Yes." He said, "We have no history of you working here in the last 3 years." I said, "Yeah, I live in Texas." He said, "Well, since we can't verify that, we're going to go ahead and I said, where's she at?" He said, "Oh, the state represents her. She's probably at work." I said, "I had to take off, but this motherfucker stay at the house." Cool. So he said, "We have no record of your income in Louisiana. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you $50 for your son, $50 for your daughter." I picked my cell phone up. I took a picture of the slip where they told me how much I was going to be paying. I sent it to her. I said, "I hope this works. I hope you have enough money for the rest of the month when you get this little $100, because you ain't gonna get 100, you're gonna get 70, because they're gonna get 30. And I hope this $70 was good enough, because I'll pay half of your bills." She on Facebook. "I'm a deadbeat. He ain't shit. He ain't this. He ain't this. He ain't gonna take care of his kids. He ain't gonna do this. But I'm a deadbeat." But you make the decision by listening to others to try to fuck me. But you ended up not having no Vaseline and you got raped. That had shit to do with me. And now my family members, even my family members, "You wrong as fuck how you did her. You know $70, $100, or $70, whatever she getting, ain't gonna be good enough to take care of them kids." Not my problem.
No, it kind of
She did it to herself.
She did do it to herself, but also, I mean, there are children watching, and that's the only reason that I would say, like, show them that that a black man can do more. Show initiative. Like, yeah, send her 100, and then have an official legal document stating every single else thing that you've done for your children. So whenever she gets ready, all she did was prove herself to be an untrustworthy being. You just have to be prepared.
Lance,
it's unfortunate.
Lance, last night you said something so important. You said black women are evolving into something beautiful, that they can't be suppressed anymore. Well, black men have woke the fuck up as well. And so black men are no longer simps. See, at that moment, I was a simp. So I dropped out of simpology. I dropped out of simp university, and I woke the fuck up. And so what happened is now I don't look at it like that. I'm hardcore, because that's what is deserving, right? And so
that's not what creates bonds, though. It's forgiveness and consideration and compassion and continuing to be the example, like Jesus said. So you're going to have a choice. You're either going to put God first and you're going to do what he says, or you're going to put your feelings first and you're going to do what you say. And in my mind, there is no other alternative. You have to make an extreme to have an extreme solution and a positive.
There is no feelings involved. And I understand what people said. The Bible says, "Be angry, but sin not." And then you go over a couple of chapters, and John, you'll see Jesus was walking down, and he walked into the tabernacle to pray, and he saw they were in there doing something that they weren't supposed to do. And they say Jesus went in and tore the club up, turned over the tables, hit a couple of people, right? Because they pissed him off, because they were in a place that they shouldn't be, and they tried to do something in a place that he respected. So I'm going to say, be Christ-like. So let me be Christ-like. I'm going to tear the fucking club up as much as I can.
That one example, we went to go. Just skip all the other times when he was just walking and talking.
If you're doing something in my space that you shouldn't be doing in my space, I'm gonna turn the tables over with your ass.
look, I honestly, like, I'm gonna say, like, from a human aspect, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. But like, when I think about the extra that I can do to show people, like, to being an example is the most important part to me in my life. I
last
want
night you said
somebody to
I should
look upon me and be inspired.
but
And
last
that's
night you said but last night you said I should have sympathy for the women with attitudes and the girls that's twerking and don't know
and
themselves.
men and men and the men who don't take care of their children. I mean, it's gonna be upsetting. It is an upsetting situation. We are in an upsetting period as Black people, where like our color doesn't matter. It's like we are doing our own individual thing. We're getting stuck in this loop of we don't need each other. And the only thing you can do to prove that wrong is when someone needs something, even if it's just guidance, you know, or they need somebody to be an example in their life. They may not even know they need that. The Lord's just telling you, like, that's what you need to be. Like,
the night I was on Brian's platform, y'all gotta check him out and subscribe to his page. I'll let him tell you his page before we get off. But I was on his show and we talked about it. I actually went to court, right, to get custody. And she was so comfortable and complacent in the system because she was getting Section 8 food stamps, everything the government offered, right? And so she was so comfortable and complacent in that she told me to my face, "Boy, you wasting your time. You'll never get custody of these kids." She went to the church. Yeah, she went to the church and told the church, "I'm fighting for custody. What y'all gonna do about it?" The church wrote her a check, unlimited amount of money. "Hey, whatever you need to fight for your kids and get custody of your kids, we will pay your legal fees." I had to come out of my ass with my money. I fought for 2.5, almost 3 years for my kids, right? She told me, I don't know what wasting time for her family members in court laughing at me. Look at him, girl. Wait till that judge hit that gavel. But what I did was I had to dig deeper. I had to go into pictures of you being abused by your female girlfriend and by your male counterpart. I had to go into pictures where my daughter taking pictures and there's alcohol and liquor in the back, and on our joint custody plan it says that no liquor can be within 50 feet of my children. I had to go pay her friends and be sneaky and be dirty. See, this is what Megan's talking about. Pay your friends and let them be dirty. Take pictures of you passed out in the house and everybody leaving and your kids are still up and you drunk. I had to hire people. I had to get people involved to help me get custody of my kids. And the day came and they put me on the stand and her lawyer came up after my lawyer wiped the floor with her ass. See, you know Anita Tennant? Anita wiped the floor with her ass. And when Anita wiped the floor with her character and everything about her, then her lawyer came up and said, "Well, Mr. Whitfield, we see here that you are behind on your child support. You're in the rears." The judge said, "Mr. Whitfield, you've been here all day convincing us that you are the best option for the children, and you're in the rears on your child support." I said, "Oh, no, Your Honor." I said, "That's incorrect." I said, "But let me show you something." And Anita came up to the thing, gave me the paper. I took the paper out of my pocket. Took the paper out of my lap. I said, "Here's my receipt right here. I'm paid up in full." After it was over, the judge came back and said, "We're going to give you custody of your children." I'm not even going. I'll give you the expression later. The custody of your children, and we'll give you $798 a month for both of them.
Praise God.
Watch this. As soon as that happened, you took my fucking kids from me. Right? She's emotional. "I took your kids from you. I've had the kids since they were 6 and 7. I can count on one hand how many times she's contacted them or spent any intimate moments with them since I got custody, and they're 14 and 13. Now they have their own cell phones. I even tried to be a man about it and give them her cell phone numbers. She has both of their numbers. My kids' phones never ring. They never hear from their mother." So she was in it for the money. She was not in it for the kids. And that's the example.
Did she ever have any more kids? Did she ever have any more
no,
kids?
ma'am. No, ma'am. But that's why she's going to get her ass whipped, because she said to me and my wife, "Hey, listen, I don't want no more kids. If I have some more kids, their last name going to be Whitfield. It's going to be by the same man if I have more kids." So that's when we had a fucking problem, right? It was a fucking problem after that. But she thought the system was for her, and the judge would have given her custody if I didn't have the proof to prove that she was unfit, severely unfit. My son, oh, what? I got text messages showing them to the judge, printed them out. Oh, how are my kids doing in school? Oh, your son is a B and C student. He's great. But when you get the transcript from the school, F. Sleeping in class. Does he get any sleep? Does he take a bath? He needs to. We need to work on your son's hygiene. Like my son going to school looking like a fucking color purple stunt double.
Shut up.
He like one of he like Hopper when he was a kid, and he should not getting his hair cut, not taking care of him. So we flushed her, and I got cussing. And I advise all men to do that. If you're in a fight with a black woman out here and she's toxic and she's all about that bullshit, you get your money, you get your coins together, and you go get your babies. Go get your baby because these women ain't always fit. Go get your babies because it's all because I said that story to say this. It was about the kids because if it was about the money, not the kids. Because it was about the kids, you'll be calling them, you'll be reaching out to them, you'll call them on their birthdays, you would send them gifts, you would send them love and encouragement. You would reach out to them on holidays, their birthdays. She does nothing, and she has 100% access to them, and does nothing.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that was your experience. I'm so sorry that was your experience, but I'm so happy they got you. Like I really am. Because there's not, like, in my experience, I've just never seen that many black men even try that hard. They automatically assume they're going to be beat by the system just like they do with education. They just automatically assume that they have no other option. And they're weakened by their own, self-image just pushed on them. Not a lot of men are out there doing that. And you were right. There have been a rise in women that, like, don't give a fuck. I don't know where that's from. I was like 19 before I saw a mama that didn't care.
Okay.
I know some mamas in my family that was on drugs, and they still was about their kids. They might disappear for about 2, 3, 4 days, but when they come back from the trap, they coming back with groceries. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. Like, yes, I think we have a system against us. I don't think it's black women's fault though. I mean, I think there's just there's a system set to destroy.
You were doing good. You were doing good. You were doing good. You were doing good, Lance. You were doing good. Let me tell you what happened. It is their fault because think about this: the black women know they got the slave master, and when the black man, the nigger male gets out of line, the black woman, they've created a red button for the woman to press, and so you know how the white man whisper in their ear, it's a little devil in their ear. Oh, you're gonna let him go and move on with his life with another woman? And I got this job.
That same shit Megan was just talking that stupid shit.
I can go ahead and get you everything you need from this motherfucker. He won't be able to pay for a goddamn skirt once I get through pushing this dick up his ass. And that's what they do.
I mean, that's the mindset. I didn't say
that's exactly what they do.
That's the mindset.
Yeah, and women know that. Just like domestic violence. Oh, you're gonna let that man speak to you any kind of way? You go in there and punch yourself in the face, and we'll come get that motherfucker. It's the same shit.
But that protection was created not for that purpose. You got to also think about all the women who are just taking shots to the face, and that are being helped. I mean, you can't wreck a system with the intentions of good just because there are some people that are toxic. Like, and you're right, it's fucked up. It's really fucked up that like they did this to try to. Some people put this in motion to try to help, and a lot of people are using it for like just nastiness. I mean, but that's what it is.
I think low key that a lot of this system was targeted against black men. Just even like the whole housing. I think part of it was about breaking up the black family. To have housing, you can't have a man there. I think a lot of this stuff was targeted. Like if you look at who's mostly on child support, that's why nothing has been done about it. They don't really give a fuck like that. It's mostly black men that's on child support. That's why nothing has been done about it. So
and you know what, Megan?
A lot of this stuff was targeted. And like y'all kind of touched on, you get the child support, you get the arrears, now your credit is bad, you can't get a loan, you got high interest rates. It's just a whole cycle. So
and guess what?
No doubt, I think that's fact that a lot of these kind of institutions were set up to break up the black family. Were set up to, kind of geared towards targeting black men.
And guess what? And you know what? I told Tony this one day on the phone. We was having a conversation. I said, if our women, because we black, I don't want to talk about other races. Our women, if they were not incentivized, they would not file child support. They would not get divorces. divorce rates would drop immediately if women were not incentivized. Girl, I can leave him and get 100,000. Oh, what a break was it? Shit, wait a minute. But if a woman knew she wasn't getting incentivized with housing and food stamps and all this other shit, marriages would stay together.
But you know what the problem is that the black man wasn't necessarily punished just because they were asking for help. Like that was not how it was at first. Like help and assistance started with after the Great Depression. That was supposed to be a band-aid.
That was a part of the feminist move.
It was part of the feminist movement too, but that was also, but that was encouraging a whole bunch of other things too, like protecting their rights and like pregnancy and domestic violence and all that. But in addition to that, it was supposed to be a help. And the two things it did was it replaced the church and it replaced the man. And I don't think anybody really like super saw that coming. But once they saw how many people were filing for assistance, when the government was paying for it, the government was like, you know what? We could just turn this on around. And then it became like another way to attack them, just like jails did. The war against drugs, and black on black violence, which we realized that wasn't even really that fucking bad. They just made it seem like it was all killing each other. Yeah. In actuality, they were killing us and blaming us. But I mean, it's all been a lie. Like the system.
It's all a setup.
But you know what? The white man is pimping. The white man is pimping these black women.
They told us that's how they projected how many prisons they would need by the number of kids and and they have studies. This is fact. They have numbers on this. That's how they will project how many prisons they needed by the number of black kids, and they would take the statistics. Yeah, and they would tell us that in school.
Yeah, Megan, I'm absolutely right, because I know, especially with the housing stuff, like Lance said, it was supposed to help people, but now I think it done crippled a lot of people. And it's to be a middle class American that you can't get any type of help from anybody. But you want to be rich or you want to be poor. The poor people, you get housing. You got people that stay in 2-story brick homes. They got a Lexus and a damn Maserati parked out in the front yard, but they paying $50 a month for rent. And then they've been on housing for 30 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
30, like,
and getting $1,500 in food stamps.
That's your way of life. Right. And yeah, the Maserati might not be in your name, but you paying the note because you got the extra money to pay it because you only paying $50 for rent. And it's crazy, but like the system is really made for poor people, and that's why a lot of people, just like when with COVID last year, motherfuckers when they started giving out that
PPP,
the
unemployment, the extra $400,
the unemployment. When they started giving them fools $600 extra a week for unemployment, everybody quit. Right now, you go into jobs, they got now hiring signs everywhere. Now people starting to slowly come back to work. But last year, why would I come back to work and I'm making $600? My check wasn't even $600 every 2 weeks. But now you giving me an extra $600 every week. So the system, and they do it with good intentions, but people always find loopholes. And that's one of the biggest issues or whatever, because the intentions from when they implement some of these programs and stuff is to help people, but people always take advantage of it. And I'm sorry, anybody that's been on housing for longer than 10 years, they need to get their ass a letter and tell them you got one more year. You need to get your shit.
You got one more time.
Dead ass serious, man. Like that is crazy.
But that would involve the federal government getting more involved in state businesses, and state representatives don't want that. They don't want their power taken away, which would involve us getting more involved in our government and telling them what the fuck they're going to do, because we still can. We're just uneducated. It's a broken system. We are a broken people. And we have to even get motivated to even learn about shit like that. White people learn about this shit in school.
Yeah,
their government class
they were learning
completely
it
different
at
from
home.
ours.
Right, they motherfuckers learn that shit at home.
Yeah, exactly.
On, let me tell you about the Confederates. God damn it, you.
Let me tell you about
So y'all saying,
this is what he used to do.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
We got him. No.
Go ahead, Brian.
So hold on. So y'all have a problem with black people being on housing?
I
long time for 30 years.
abusing.
And I don't care if it's black, white, Mexican. I don't care what color
I'm
it
specifically
is.
talking about black. I'm specifically talking about black.
Oh yeah. Well, I have a problem with people being on housing for 30 and 40 years. Like, you haven't done anything in 30 or 40 years to better your situation, to get out of that situation. That's a problem.
So
That
I
is a
got a
problem.
question. So what you think the solution should be? Stop it now
The
or
solution,
continue to have it?
the thing. Well, no, I think. I mean, 'cause sometimes people need a helping hand. I could
Let's
right now.
not talk about the people that need a helping hand. Let's not. I'm talking about people that been on it for all these years, but didn't do nothing with it. They just
They should
study on it.
give them like another year or two at the max,
Yeah.
and that's just the worst case
That's
scenario. 2
not.
years.
That's not gonna
And
work, man.
where are
Let
they?
these
Regular
folks
drug.
stay there.
Classes, put them in some type of career
Put them
training.
in something.
You need
Yeah, in
uh-uh.
that 2 years, make them get some type of job training or something.
It's not gonna
And
work.
Regular
you know they
drug
get job
testing.
training with to be on FITAB and welfare and all of that.
That's
So that,
most definitely TANF and
I think you need
everything
the
like
regular
that.
drug
But
testing to be on any kind of government
kick out
do
people,
they'll be out of there.
if you drug, think about it.
Yeah.
Y'all just said for 30 years they made black people real dependent on the government. So think about it. If y'all cut this shit out right now, that beautiful home you stay in, because a lot of black people are not equipped to sustain themselves without the government, feed themselves without the government. That's 3 generations of uneducated. So you mean to tell me 1 year you want to put you want to put them in a transitional thing with something they not used to. It's not gonna work
Hello.
when you hold on. I'm gonna finish up.
Okay.
But when you close that out from poor people, they gonna come to where you at. Crime gonna go up exponentially. My opinion is this: I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about a nigga in the Maserati in the hood house. I don't care about all that. Cause guess what? They figured out a way to get over on white folks that been getting over on us all our life. Let them folks live off however they live. It ain't bothering me. I'm living good just because I gotta wake up every morning and this person sit up all day and live rent free or whatever. That's on them. That ain't got nothing to do with me. They just figure out a way to have a Maserati, make money, do hair, and not work for nobody. It is what it is. It's
Well, I mean,
reparations to me.
it kind of is affecting you though.
White
because
folks get reparations.
we're
White
the ones
folks get
paying
all the
into it.
benefits.
You
White folks
when
are
it
the
comes
biggest
time for us to get
benefits.
our Social Security or whatever, they've already said how they running out of money.
right.
Well,
So
that's
it does
for
start
American
affecting-
people.
I have a problem with paying for it. Say, an average person, you work 30, 40 years. You never benefit from that. And we end up paying so much money into that shit. And they said
Well,
now
that's
that by
not
the
what the
time we
government
get
is.
to retirement age, it's gonna be the ran
But
out.
we are the government.
But
We're the
government assistance
government.
is just this amount. It's just this amount of the spending budget, though. Like
Right,
we focus
right.
on a small percentage.
What?
It's other stuff. There are senators that are building $100 million theme parks in their backyard. We don't talk
But we're
about
talking
that.
about
But poor people, we worry about poor. Hold on. We worry about poor people getting over the government. Yes, they're lazy. Whatever we want to call. Hold on.
no.
Whatever we want to call them. But there is a plethora of white folks that are getting over the government. Also, Frisco, Texas, where I stay, most of them white people are getting over, man. White people know how to get over.
And
There's nothing wrong with
advancing
niggas
though.
getting over.
But they're getting over
Some
and
people don't want to
advancing.
advance.
If we don't
Lance, you're
steal
right.
from the
You're
government,
right.
can we steal from the
You're
government
right,
and be
Lance.
better? I
Exactly.
just want us to be
But everybody
better.
don't want to advance.
It's you can't
We
say
are
it.
better.
I'm not
We
saying
are
I'm not
better.
saying that wrong for getting shit for free. I sat back on my ass for the first time in my life. I usually work 2 jobs. Been working since I was 15. I
What do
chilled
you
in the
think
cut while I was
percentage of
getting that
black
money.
people?
You better fucking believe it. But I
Do
was
you think the
also
majority
working.
of black people on HUD assistance? Do you think the
No, sir.
majority of black people?
White,
No.
white folks.
So
The most
do
white
you think?
white folks are white women are the most getting food
I'm
stamps.
talking
White
about
women are the
black.
most housing authority.
I get it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
talking about black people specifically. Do you think the majority of black people are on government assistance? A majority of black
Nope.
people are not. A
Nope.
majority of black. So we keep focusing on this certain percentage of niggas that want to get over. Let them get over. That's them. But there are a lot of black people like us that's working, doing things. We hang with other black people that's working and doing things. But there's always gonna be a segment of niggas that just gonna be niggas. We can't. It is what it is. We can't save them all. Just like the dope fiend. Every dope fiend not gonna make it. You can't save every dope fiend. You can't save everybody. Them people, let them people ball, man. I did it. I was on HUD for like 7 years, and I had a Dodge SRT. paying $50 a month, getting over. Making almost $3,000 a month, getting over. The government fucking me, but we don't never talk about banks fucking us. We don't never talk about that, but we always worry about the poor motherfucker. But we don't never talk about the motherfucker that's really stepping on our back, bro. Like, let them poor motherfuckers be who they be. The government did it for a reason. There's no way we're gonna undo that, bro. There's no way. This generation from the 70s, from the 60s to now, that's not something that's gonna happen. That's gonna break. Either they die off,
or we create a plan to make them better.
And guess what?
It ain't gonna be no plan. It's never gonna happen, brother. We too tribal.
There's a lot of people that never thought we'd be out of slavery. There's a lot of people that never thought we'd be the most educated race in the world. There's a lot of people that never thought that we would dispense royal.
We the bottom of the barrel. We the most educated race, but the last race at the bottom. We at the bottom of everything, but we got all this education.
It's because we're educated, but we're divided. It's because we're divided. The only thing we had keeping us together was the church. That was all we had.
It wasn't the church, man. It wasn't what my family had. We didn't need the church. Listen, it's all about we gotta work with people that on the same line. If I say me and Tony don't agree with each other, we don't have to come together. As long as I know Tony doing something for his people, cool. Mm-hmm. I work with people. Everybody not gonna come together. Everybody. Right. I don't expect people to work with me because I have a different philosophy of life. But we can all build. 10 people can build. That's what we doing. That's what me and my people doing. Me and my partners doing. We buying land.
That's true.
We ain't giving shit to people. You know what I'm saying? We buying land. We put 2 women in houses. We trying to build. We trying to make money, man. We trying to teach children how to get some money. That's what we need to go to, man. All that, I get it. You know, we worried about some poor motherfuckers. But every day you ain't thinking about them. Every day ain't like, damn, man. I'm in my nice $300,000 house, but goddamn, them poor motherfuckers that's taking money from the government. Nah, man. Nah, leave them people alone, man. That's in my opinion. Let me speak. I'm speaking for myself.
And I think you missed the whole point of what we was talking about. And
I understand the point. It's a segment of people that's slow. They gonna be slow regardless, bro. We can keep. This is me. I like to go forward. I don't expect nobody else to think like me. But what I'm trying to say is, I understand where y'all coming from. And my mindset is this: niggas gonna be niggas, bro. Niggas gonna be where they at. But there are a majority of black people are doing right. Everybody in the hood is not bad. It's 10% making the rest of the 90% look bad. That's terrorizing the community and making the community bad. Majority of the black community is not fucked up. Just so I can't look at black people just because a black person on hood. But that's just me. That's just me.
But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all
go.
But yeah, we're about to end the show, man. Hey, listen, I appreciate all y'all coming on. Yeah. So I appreciate y'all coming on, man. It's been great conversation, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. And if we can get this thing going and keep it going, man, it'd be great. I may pick just one day a week where we all come together and just do this and make it happen, brother. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Tony, I'll see you tomorrow. I know you driving down tomorrow, right? Yeah, I'll see you in D-Town tomorrow. You and Megan, you leave her at home, though. But
where she belong, right?
But no, man. So Sierra, thank you for getting on. I know you got on late because you was helping your babies with their homework. And so Megan, thank you, Brian, Tony, Lance. I always appreciate y'all, man. And this has been Black Men Unfiltered. Peace.
Blessings.
Peace out, y'all. Hey, nice meeting y'all too, bro.